The politicians. They've had me to their homes. They've introduced me to their children. I've become their best friends in many instances. They've asked for my endorsement, and they always wanted my money. And even called me really a dear, dear friend. But then, suddenly, decided when I ran for president as a Republican that I've always been a no-good, rotten, disgusting scoundrel. And they totally forgot about me. In my former life, I was an insider. I knew these false attacks would come.
The president's been so unfairly attacked in the media.
I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh,
I knew this day would arrive. It's only a question of when.
and I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord,
Nobody knows the system better than me.
well, if you told me you were drowning, I would not lend a hand.
Now I'm being punished for leaving
I've seen your face before, my friend,
the special club.
but I don't know if you know who I am.
I'm a wartime president. This is a war.
Oh, well, I was there and I saw what you did.
I was a very consequential
Saw
president.
it with my own two eyes.
Maybe even more so this time.
You can wipe off that grin. I know where you've been. It's all been a pack of lies.
I am your justice.
I can feel it coming in the air tonight.
I am your voice.
Oh Lord,
I am your retribution.
and I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord, will I remember, don't worry.
My first term, I disrupted all of it. Oh, did I disrupt?
How could I ever forget? It's the first time,
That was called major disruption.
the last time we ever met. But I know the reason why you keep your silence, sir. No, you don't fool me,
I will fight for you.
'cause the hurt doesn't show, but the pain still grows. It's no stranger to you and
And I
me.
will win for you.
I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord, and I've been waiting for this moment for all my life.
We won. The operation's over.
Oh my God! Can you guys feel it coming in the air tonight? It is coming. Oh, the storm is coming.
You
It is
know it, dude.
raging. Oh my God! Epic stuff has come out. Oh,
Oh, man. I know we played that
Big
intro
week for
before,
news.
but this is the time to play it again because
Exactly.
what a week we had, Hex.
and if
Oh,
you guys can feel it coming in the air tonight, let us know in the chat. Whatever platform you're watching on, let us know you can feel it coming. The storm coming, because it is coming, and it is
That's
coming
a
on
lot of coming.
strong.
That's a lot of coming.
Hey now, hey now.
You know me, brother.
Oh, well, welcome to Same Cues, Different Views. This is episode 23. It's Friday night, September 26th, and Donald Trump is our president, and the storm is coming. We are your host, Parabellum and Hex 7. Hopefully soon to be joined by Big Country. I think he's going to make it. I don't know. Not heard from him yet. But anyway, got a lot of stuff to go over tonight, guys. A lot. It's been a big, busy week.
Ooh, you ain't kidding, man.
Let's see. What do you want to kick off with tonight, Parabellum? Like, there was so much. I don't know if we're going to get to cover all of it. There were just so many things happened this week.
Well, you know what? Just for a good starter, I know this is off. We're going to be talking about NATO, everything about Trump crushing NATO. We've got a lot of that going on. The Comey indictment. We've got the Ryan Ruth guilty verdict. We've got crazy ass Ilhan Omar, everything that goes with that. But I think it'd be good to go ahead and show the people exactly the message that came out from Hillary Clinton. It seemed to be a horrible, negative Christian hating message. I don't know if you guys got to see it. What do you think about that, Hex? You want to play it real quick?
Heck yeah, let's do it. Let's watch this cunt.
Check out the devil in the flesh.
Sorry.
We're not.
We haven't gotten to the more perfect union, and we fought a civil war over part of it. Mm-hmm. And people have been protesting, for hundreds of years that, things were not as they should be, given our ideals and how we should be moving toward them. So I think that's what makes us so special as a country. And the idea that you could turn the clock back and try to recreate a world that never was, dominated by, let's say it, white men of a certain persuasion, a certain religion, a certain point of view, a certain ideology, is just doing such damage to what we should be aiming for. And we were on the path toward that. I mean, imperfectly, lots of, bumps along the way, but I agree with you. We were on the right trajectory.
Let me.
Wow. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
I mean, an absolute evil message talking about basically demonizing Christians. If we
that's what I was getting ready to say.
Ideology, what kind of message is that? What do you think about that, Hex?
I'd shit on it.
Yeah, well, that doesn't go a little bit with the satanic cult as far as Q ideology, goes.
Like everything she was talking about there, like you was talking about, with the Christianity and stuff like that, like she was kind of demonizing it or downing
Absolutely. Every bit. And they've been doing it every time. Yeah. You've seen the Bible upside down, everything going on, with that, all the stuff you guys have been following, talking about, especially with Q, where you're on Q and you got the satanic cult and the child trafficking stuff that's going on. I say she is definitely talking some nasty stuff about Christians.
We had
sure to be held accountable.
I don't remember what episode it was, but we had a clip you had brought up of it was one of her, I don't know if she was an intern or something. She worked under Hillary Clinton, and she was talking about how Hillary would make fun of, people who were Christians and pray to, or go ahead and pray to your sky god is what Hillary called them. And, called it like crazy. Insane.
I mean, I'm pretty much convinced this woman is a devil worshiper at this point. I mean, good God. I mean, everybody has the right to whatever it is you believe in, the melting pot country we call the United States of America, which exhibits freedom of religion. But Jesus, man, you ain't got to go that far, you little weirdo.
Well, she also came out, if I'm not mistaken, here recently, because Trump was talking about, I think it was in his UN speech, he was talking about it with the whole Russia and Ukraine thing. And he was about how Ukraine could take back territory. If
well, that was a total flip on everything. You talking about President Trump?
Yeah, but what it was if NATO or the UN, and I had support and funded them, because Trump pretty much is what I got out of it. Trump was like, I'm out of this. If you want to support them. And he was saying that about Ukraine, that they could take back some of their land or territory possibly. And I think Hillary, if I'm not mistaken, was all over this on X or an interview or something. I'd seen somebody had posted about it on X, that she was all over this, and she supported this. This is what they want, people. They want a war. This was part of the 16-year plan to get cripple the country cripple the world, bring everybody to their knees, and bring us to the brink of World War III. And then
Absolutely.
World War III. And what do you think would have happened if Hillary would have won in 2016?
Oh my God, dude! There's
We-
no telling it.
We would have been in World War III.
Yeah.
Heck, Dave on X22 was talking about it last night. I think it was Dave on X22, but he was saying that, you know, if she had won, a lot of us probably wouldn't be here right now. We'd probably be dead.
Oh, I guarantee it. You know, everything that they're pointing the finger at right now for the Republicans and the conservative party, saying that, you know, President Trump's controlling everybody and he's abusing his power. That is exactly what they've done since day one in their playbook. And that's exactly what they would have done had Hillary won. And they would have done it to exponential levels. I guarantee that. It would have been no good.
They had a 16-year plan that they had in place to destroy everything.
Oh, yeah. Well, I do have, where do you want to move to next? Talk about the Dallas ICE shooter? Is that where we were going to start earlier, or where do you want to go?
Well, yeah, we could do that. We did find out that the Dallas ICE shooter had a sister who also has a criminal record, and I've got a little photo of her here. I'm going to pull up so everybody can kind of see what she looks like. I think you had looked into some of her criminal record, you know, just pre-show here, and was reading some of it, and it didn't look like it was like.
Didn't seem like too much. It was like marijuana possession charges and maybe a little bit of light assault. Probably got out on OR.
But apparently,
but
I think
she did have a tie to LGBTQ community for OnlyFans.
Yep.
Now that is one thing that we saw.
So let's take a look at her and see what she looks like here. Wait! I'm sorry, wrong slide. There it is. Oh wait, hold up wait a minute.
My God, Anakin Walker and Skyballer. Jesus, there is a pretty close resemblance there. I have to give you that, Hex.
Yeah, or maybe to Marilyn Manson too.
Yeah. So anyway, you had the Dallas ICE shooter that went down in the past few days. Joshua John, that was the shooter's name that eventually came out with that. We do have a little bit of a video for you guys to watch if you didn't see it. 2-minute video, kind of bring you back up to speed about everything that happened with Joshua John and his sister about the shooting. To me, it seems like it may be not so good of a shot because there was anti-ice on the bullets, and it seemed like we hit a whole lot of illegal immigrants or immigrants that were being deported. So either way, here we go. Here's the video, and then we'll do a little commentary.
Tonight, investigators revealing disturbing new details about a gunman they say was fixated on killing ICE agents and had been planning his attack on a Dallas ICE facility for months.
What he did is the very definition of terrorism.
The FBI saying they found his handwritten notes, including one that read, "Hopefully this will give ICE agents real terror to think, is there a sniper with AP rounds on that roof?"
He wrote that he intended to maximize lethality against ICE personnel and to maximize property damage at the facility.
In addition to writing anti-ICE on his bullets, the FBI says the gunman downloaded a list of DHS facilities, searched apps that tracked ICE agents, and conducted multiple searches for the, quote, Charlie Kirk shot video. Before, investigators say he got onto a roof across from the ICE office and started firing indiscriminately, hitting a van with detainees inside, killing one of them, and then taking his own life. A man who says he was in the same Boy Scout troop with the suspect as a teen described a conversation about migrant caravans in recent years. He was just upset about how people were not understanding people's desperation to get out of bad situations, the Scout member, who asked not to be named, told NBC News. President Trump's border czar blaming Democrats' fierce criticism of ICE.
When they have a congressman or someone that ran for vice president of the United States comparing ICE to Nazis, that gives some of these nuts and emboldens them to take action.
We need leadership coming from
God
1600
bless Tom
Pennsylvania
Homan.
Avenue.
God bless Tom Homan. I love that man.
Yep.
He's just straight to the point, you know. We got these nuts out here, and that's exactly what we got. We got these nuts out here.
You were telling me, excuse me, you were telling me earlier, I start talking a lot with these allergies. It gets my throat.
Okay, man.
Sorry. But you were telling me earlier this week that you over this whole entire ICE shooting, you'd got to an argument with a liberal over on X. give us a rundown of how that went.
So there was a little bit over there on Same Cues, Different Views. We do have a web page. If you guys, I'll go ahead and put it up here. You can check it out. It was on X. Give me 1 second. Let me put the overlay up here. So all you got to do is scan that QR code, guys. And if you scan that with your camera, you'll be able to click our website, or maybe you can touch it on the link. I'm not sure. But either way, scan that QR code and it'll go over there. You can be able to see it on Same Cues, Different Views webpage. Got into a huge battle, man, with when all this information initially came out. My initial response to this was, oh, there's a Dallas ICE shooting. The first thing that I did, being a conservative, is I said, well, how blue is Dallas? That's the first thing I wanted to know. So I went and I researched and I found out Dallas is majoritarily, of course, blue. Larger cities generally tend to be blue, whether you're in a red state or not. So my initial assumption was, which I posted on Same Cues, Different Views, was that this is by far a liberal with a weapon, anti-ICE. Something's going on here. It's going to be a liberal that has that weapon. And you wouldn't imagine the backlash that you get from the far left liberal party whenever you post something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody came on and they basically told me, they said, it's a MAGA guy, just like you, and you're a MAGA racist. So I'm thinking, I'm keeping it, cool. And I said, we'll see. 1 hour later, what happens? 1 hour later, more information comes out, and then this image is released, and it's the ammunition of Joshua John, the shooter, the Dallas ICE shooter, labeling his ammunition, and it's really starting this trend that we've talked about in previous episodes of these far left liberal ideology and this messed up mentality that's going on in the world. It's a mental epidemic, but they're inscribing their bullets, and they think it's cool or whatever. I don't know, but anti-ICE was on there, and so I responded from Same Cues, Different Views to the person. I said, what was it you were saying about MAGA racists? And that's about how it went. Go ahead and hush now, liberal.
Anything else?
I mean, at this point,
but
how can anybody not assume automatically that it's not going to, at the minimum, be a liberal with a weapon, shooting somebody, creating violence?
What you were saying there. What you were saying there about, them inscribing on their ammo. We've seen that with this shooter. We've seen it with the Uvalde, Charlie Kirk shooter. Mm-hmm. There's been multiple. And then you were talking about also, you had mentioned about it's like a what do they get out of this? It's like a club or something. And I think it's a horrible trend that I think they're starting. And what I was worried about is that it was going to catch on. And this is from the first time. Well, I think it already has, because we talked about this. I think it was last Friday we talked about this, and the Friday before that we also mentioned it too with the Charlie Kirk shooting, that there is a club or a clique, or I don't know what you want to call it, but a group out there who idolize these shooters. Mm-hmm. And look up to them, and they follow this stuff. And if from what I gather, like among them, if you do something like this, it's like you're like legendary status or something. Yeah,
you're getting street credit.
It's sick. It's freaking sick.
Absolutely sickening. You're getting street credit for doing these things. And I was worried about that taking off as a trend in the far left ideology and the far left, liberals that follow this. But you can see it all day long. Look at, Charlie Kirk in the Discord chat and the 20 people, and then all the people that are going to be involved in that. So these people are speaking to other people within that. And then they're just really influencing this idea of where, oh, this is cool to do this, and maybe I can gain status. But then you get people like Ryan Ruth or any of them, whoever committed any violence. What's the first reaction to consequences from a liberal? They try to kill themselves, or they do. Liberals can't handle consequences. This is not the way of life. Oh yeah, Ryan Ruth. Yeah, absolutely. That was my joke for Ryan Ruth. So he came out today, and I'll show you guys a quick video since we're talking about it. Ryan Ruth came out, and he got a guilty verdict from President Trump, assassination attempt, and here's a 30-second clip.
Well, hold on. There's still, I don't know if anybody remembers Ryan Ruth, but he was the Florida Trump
assassination attempt on the golf course.
Yeah, on the golf course. Yeah, so that's who we're referring to here. So go ahead.
Absolutely. Here's the video, and then here's the guilty verdict.
It's quite shocking. As the verdict was read, it appeared to our producers inside the courtroom that Ruth tried to stab himself in the neck with a pen. That's what it appeared to look like. Then 4 marshals dragged him out of the courtroom, took his coat off. They then shackled him at the waist and ankles, and then they brought him back into the courtroom. So again, this just in from our producers. As the verdict was being read, Ruth tried to hurt himself in the neck with a pen. Now,
so, there you go. You've got an idea of what's going on in the far left liberal ideology and the mental epidemic that I think that it's bringing upon to the world. You're seeing a whole lot of violence get ensued, and it's only getting worse. My only question for Ryan Ruth, since he tried to assassinate our president, President Trump, is, was it a ballpoint pen? Fingers crossed. I have no love for him. That is what it is, buddy.
Again, I've made this statement too. I blame a lot of this on the mainstream media because of what they put out there, because you had all of them back, Trump's first term, attacking Trump on the mainstream media and calling him a Nazi, calling him a fascist, calling him a racist, calling him this, calling him that. Yeah. And these mentally ill people get this put into their head, and you see what you see, the shit that happens, the ridiculous shit that shouldn't happen, it happens.
Well, if any kind of violence is bred, it's going to be most definitely from the far left side of things. They're the ones that's doing it. I know you guys have probably seen it in the news this week. JD Vance, you got President Trump and NATO speaking about this left-wing activist violent movement. We're going to be bringing that to you guys a little bit later, but everybody's finally talking about it, and I think we're finally starting to see a little bit of accountability. Pam Bondi, everything, accountability 100% coming from the conservative party. So I've been waiting on that, man. And I think we're there.
Yep. Given what we got lined up for tonight, I think you guys are probably going to see that, we've been talking about, we're in the exposure phase of this stuff for the past few episodes. But now I think we're possibly starting to come into the accountability phase with what's happened with Comey. And we'll get into that a little bit later tonight too. But we also do have, you had some news today breaking with a connection with Soros. And that goes back to Trump. He was, what was it? Earlier this week, he had, or maybe it was last week, he had classified Antifa as a terrorist organization.
Yeah, that's what we was talking about in the last show.
So he was doing that. And he also said within that post on Truth Social, he also said that it needs to be investigated where the funding from Antifa is coming from. And we all know where the funding from Antifa is coming from. Come on, people.
Absolutely.
I mean, who?
Let me see if I can.
Who's the biggest funder of Antifa that everybody can think of? George Soros.
George Soros. And then President Trump and NATO has another video we'll share with you if I can find it here in a minute.
I was saying when we were talking about that this is, and I think I'd even made the post over on Facebook, on my Facebook account, and maybe on the Same Q's Facebook, but I was saying that this is going to open the door for George Soros, enter George Soros to the stage, I think is what my post was.
Yeah. Well, one thing I see that the chessboard pieces are moving.
Yeah.
In the conservative side of the aisle for the first time in a long time. And if you're blind, maybe you don't see it, but there is a whole lot of accountability. There's been a whole lot of investigations. We've been getting our ducks in a row for a long time. And if anybody knows the conservative party, they don't just jump the gun and then go after somebody like that's what liberals do. Okay. They go after you with media and no evidence. That's not what conservatives do. So we've been doing it long enough. And I know people were worried about, is something going to happen? It's happening. Just watch it.
The chess pieces moving you were speaking of there, Parabellum. It's move. This is what we're seeing right now is moves and counter moves from Trump and counter moves from the deep state, or I'm sorry, moves from the deep state, counter moves from Trump, or.
Oh yeah.
That's what we're watching right now is all this playing out. And get some popcorn, people. This is going to be a really good shit fest as it goes down, and you're going to witness greatest moment in history. But anyway, what you got there?
Here is President Trump's response. He put out a tweet with the Dallas ICE shooting. That's what we're talking about. I'll go ahead and read it real quick. President Trump put out, I've been briefed on the deadly shooting at the ICE field office in Dallas, Texas. It has now been revealed the deranged shooter wrote anti-ICE on his shell casings. This is despicable. The brave men and women of ICE are just trying to do their jobs and remove the worst of the worst criminals out of our country. But they're facing an unprecedented increase in threats, violence, and attacks by deranged radical leftists. This violence is the result of radical left Democrats constantly demonizing law enforcement, calling for ICE to be demolished and comparing ICE officers to Nazis, and which what you was talking about, Hex. The continuing violence from radical left terrorists in the aftermath of Charlie Kirk's assassination must be stopped. So it basically goes on further to where President Trump, in all caps right down here, he says, I'm calling on all Democrats to stop the rhetoric against ICE and America's law enforcement right now. Strong borders, securing our homeland, deporting violent illegal criminals, and fully rooting out the left-wing domestic terrorism that is terrorizing our country. So, you know, that was President Trump's, and I have to agree with him on that 100%. I mean, it was time, and then things progressed from this tweet that we'll be getting into.
But anyway, we're talking about Soros there too, and you had some the news that came out with Soros.
Oh, yeah.
Because we were talking about, you know, the Antifa thing in connection to Soros. And
oh, you're talking about that video. Yeah. So there was something new and breaking that came out. Is this the video that you're talking about a Soros ally? Powers connected to a child sex trafficking ring. I don't know if you guys have seen this. It's just breaking news that came out today. If you haven't seen it, check this out. Yeah.
Was he an accountant or something like that for Soros?
He was an accountant for George Soros, and he managed hedge funds for George Soros. I think it was back in 2013, but still yet you see a connection there to George Soros. And yet another one with child
trafficking.
Yep. Absolutely. I mean, they're there for the world to see, one after the other. So here we go. Here's a new one for you guys. Check it out.
Okay.
Breaking news, Contessa. Money manager Howard Rubin has been arrested in Connecticut on federal charges of sex trafficking women. A 10-count indictment charges Rubin and his longtime personal assistant Jennifer Powers with recruiting, coercing, and forcing women for commercial sex acts, transporting the women in interstate commerce. The Department of Justice says Rubin took those women to a Manhattan penthouse apartment that had been converted to a sex dungeon, also to luxury hotels, and then tortured women beyond their consent, including electrocution. It's a fairly detailed prosecution claim here. Prosecutors say the pair forced those victims then to sign non-disclosure agreements that put financial consequences on them if they told. Rubin's charged with bank fraud connected to financing his assistant's Texas mortgage. Now, sex trafficking convictions could carry a life sentence here. Rubin also was sued in 2017 by 3 models who say that he raped them and was ordered to pay millions of dollars for that. Rubin had worked for many Wall Street firms, including Salomon Brothers, Bear Stearns, Merrill Lynch, and also for George Soros. So we're just getting those details right now from the Department of Justice, and we'll continue to pursue more info.
So I should have probably warned you guys this was going to be a pretty rough one, but it is all over mainstream news media and any kind of conservative network right now. How many similarities did you see in any kind of Epstein involvements or child sex trafficking type stuff there? What did you see there, Hex?
Well, what have I been saying? Like, you step back and take the 40,000 foot view, and we're going to get into some of this tonight too, toward a little later in the show. But you step back, take the 40,000 foot view. I've been saying that all of this connects together. All of this Russia collusion, all of this January, all the trials they put, or not trials, well, trials and all the stuff they've thrown at Trump. Every bit of this connects together because they're fighting for life. They're trying to cover up their crimes. They're trying to keep it from coming out, but it's happening. It's coming out. And, you know, we've just went through a big bulk of the exposure phase. And I think a lot of people are really starting to see that all this is starting to tie together. Epstein, all of it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So you got Howard Rubin here, who definitely has ties to George Soros, and then you look at everything George and Alex Soros has been funding. Their stuff with political violence and the riots and everything that's going on. So it seems like they're all about violence, and then apparently connected to sexual violence as well. But here's a little bit more information onto that. Howard Rubin was arrested on today and charged with sex trafficking and other crimes in a federal indictment. The charges led that Rubin, 70, along with his former assistant, Jennifer Powers, 45, tracked women for commercial sex acts over the span of a decade. Okay, here's a little bit of the details, and I warn you, some of them are a little gruesome. This is a wild one. The women are allegedly recruited to travel to New York for sexual encounters with Rubin in exchange for money. Some of these encounters took place in a sex dungeon, which you guys just heard. The women were reportedly encouraged to use drugs and alcohol and were subjected to sexual acts that went beyond their consent. To silence the victims, Rubens and Powers allegedly forced them to sign non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, 50 Shades of Grey stuff going on there, people. We know this can't be good for the soul. Jesus. The indictment also contains a charge for bank fraud against Rubin related to mortgage for Powers' Texas home in which he financed. So a little bit more information on that. All you see is just negative mental epidemic. Anytime a liberal is out there or somebody who's financing these things that liberals are tied to, it's disgusting.
Yep. 1,000%. It is.
So there's you another one. Lord have mercy.
We also had Hegseth. We had some Hegseth news came out. He called for a big meeting of military generals. I think is what it was this week. I wanted to put some stuff together for that, but I didn't get a chance to. Again, there's been a lot of stuff come out this week, people. Oh, look at there. Well, good old Parabellum to the rescue.
Gotcha, buddy. Let me bring this up real quick. So Hegseth orders rare urgent meeting of hundreds of generals and admirals. The Pentagon has summoned military officials from around the world for gathering in Virginia. Even top generals and their staff don't know the reason for the meeting. So this has brought up a whole lot of speculation. People are definitely speculating. Well, what is all this? And then you got security risks that are tied into this that people bring up. Well, you're putting all your leaders in one room and telling them where you're going to be, So you're getting a lot of things that come up with that. But, at the end of the day, I think it's just for a national defense and to get all of Pete Hegseth wants to get them all in a room and speak to them about where they're going to be going for the national defense plan, as far as my research and what I've seen, and that there will be removals of like 20% of generals, and he's going to be firing a lot of people, and it's to bring about get rid of a lot of the bureaucrat crap that's inside of the military because too many chiefs, not enough Indians. You see what I'm saying? So that's what it's generally a lot about, according to my research. But you have other people who are saying, this is pretty weird, man. It's definitely unusual. You got a lot of things going on. What's your view on that, Hex? Is it odd to you, or is it?
Yeah, it is. It is kind of odd to me, especially given that it wasn't very long ago that Trump renamed the Department of Defense to the Department of War.
Yeah.
That kind of, I'm not sure exactly where I stand with that, but that was I felt that was kind of interesting that he had named that to the Department of War, and then we got Hegseth doing this now. But
yeah,
is it
questionable? What's really going on? You know what I mean?
Well, like you were talking about there, to kind of weed out certain people and stuff like that.
Yeah,
are they weeding out like deep state players from this? Is that what they're trying to weed out? Or
I would imagine it's your liberal generals that are in the military that you can't say.
What I'm talking about. Yeah,
absolutely.
So that, or is it a combination of that? And it's actually their meeting to discuss the plan to take back the country and the plan to save the world.
Absolutely. I'd imagine that's what it's going to be. A couple of things I can tell you is you brought it up, the Department of War.
Yeah,
you said it with the Department of War that just recently came on. And the so-called purpose of this meeting that's coming out right now is that Hegseth will address military standards and outline his vision for the warrior ethos. Now, anybody that's ever done military or anything, you understand the warrior ethos. But you said Department of War. Yeah. So are we gearing up for something? With everything else that's going on, the accountability of left-wing political activists and the designation of Antifa, you got a lot of things going on. Then you got this big meeting coming together. So
I'm going to throw a little bit of Q into this too. Is like, I think it's Q22. We've hit on that a lot, but in Q22, no war, no civil unrest, clean and swift. So you had. We were talking just a little bit ago about the whole Ukraine Russia thing, and Trump, saying, if NATO wants to fund that, which they don't have, or the UN wants to fund that, they don't have any funding, but they're going broke, and we'll get into that in a minute too. But if they want to fund that, they can fund that and keep it going. And then you had Hillary Clinton, like I said, was in support of this whole thing with Ukraine possibly taking back territories and stuff like that, because it's going to cover her ass if this shit goes down. I think Trump may be trying to lead them into that narrative to possibly start World War III, but again, Q22, no war, no civil unrest, clean and swift. And I think with these military generals and admirals being briefed, that maybe, like I said, they were trying to, maybe they're starting to fill them in on the plan here and what's about to go down. So they're, they can get their people in place to prepare for it, to stop any kind of war, stop any kind of, civil unrest and stuff like that, which that could also tie back into the Insurrection Act. I mean, who knows?
Absolutely.
Let's see what happens, people.
Well, to me, I mean, I've seen things like this before, prior service military, and then anybody who's ever watched politics. And a couple other things for this Hegseth order is that it was on short notice. It was very, there was no planning. There was, it was just, hey, I need all you to come here. We're going to talk about something. Department of War, baby. Like, whoa, dude, what's going on?
Well,
so
it was almost a similar thing with Trump there back whenever you had Israel and Iran going at it, and it broke out to a full-on assault. And then Trump had to leave the G7 summit, and he called for a big meeting like that to the, I don't know, is it, am I making sense with that? That, like, do you think maybe that's like Trump called for this big meeting? And what did I say? I think it was, I can't remember exactly what the episode was, but we had talked about it, and I was saying, based off a Q drop, let's see what happens Sunday. Because Q said happy Sunday in that drop, and it all connected to that. And then that Sunday is when we seen the Operation Midnight Hammer take place, and Trump goes into Iran and bombs their facilities. So is that what we're looking at here with Hegseth? Is that Hegseth's calling this big meeting, and all of a sudden some kind of big Operation Hammer style event's going to take place? I'm not saying like bombing or a war breakout, but some kind of like
some sort of accountability and justice.
And justice is. Yeah,
I would go with accountability and justice. I mean, you don't just have them all come together and then nothing happened. It seems to be direction, as far as my opinion goes, direction towards the military. Anytime before we went out and went outside the wire and we did any kind of operation, there was always the get together where you would go over operational details, and there'd be PowerPoint presentations to death. And then, this would always take place, and then the operation would take place. It's getting everybody on the same page. So is there a possibility for something getting ready to go down here? I would say so, in my personal opinion. I say something most definitely it could happen here very soon, given all of the other information that's gone on this week.
Yep, exactly. I agree with you 1,000 times. We could, let's see, anything else before we jump into some of the big meat of the show here? Or?
Let me see here.
Again, there's a lot of news that's came out this week, and we're not going to get to cover everything in full detail, or we'll probably miss a few things, but we're trying to get what, we feel is like really, really big news that's came out this week. So, but
well, no, I ain't got nothing. If, there's the Tylenol stuff that came out, and then if you want to jump into NATO, I'm not sure where you want to go, but I will go with you.
Let's go into UN here.
Here we go. UN faces budget cuts after U.S. funding dries up. You want me to read that?
Well, you can, or I can. It doesn't matter, whichever.
Okay.
I wasn't going to read the whole thing. I was just going to read that first little sentence there down the Trump administration, if I was going to read it, because that was really the important part.
Okay, go ahead.
The UN has announced it will need to cut $500 million from its 2026 budget, and will lay off 20% of its staff as a struggle to cope with a massive reduction of funding by the Trump administration. I thought that was kind of interesting that they're going to have to lay off 20% of their staff and cut their budget by $500 million due to funding reduction by the Trump administration.
Oh yeah.
So that got me, I was just kind of curious, and I kind of want to pull this up here. This is US AID official site. And I'd pulled this up yesterday. Was just looking at it and thought it was hilarious. They've got a little thing on there, and I've got it highlighted in red, outline in red. I'm sorry. Report waste and fraud abuse. Contact USAID OIG hotline. But then If you want to give those ones I've got highlighted there a little bit of a read,
Well,
Parabellum.
see, I don't know. It's a little bit small there.
Okay.
Director on US. Can you see it?
Yeah, I can zoom in over here on my other screen. I think I've got this set up now. Director of USAID funded PEPFAR project pleads guilty to 9 years of fraud or a fraud scheme. So PEPFAR was a Presidential Emergency Plan Act for AIDS relief. AIDS, the disease AIDS.
Mm-hmm.
Not USAID, but anyway, there was that, and then there was.
I was wondering what we were talking.
And investigative summary: former OIG employee debarred after pleading guilty to wire fraud and COVID relief fraud scheme. And then September 12th, 2025, investigation summary: active ongoing investigation. Active ongoing investigation, September 2025. So there were still ongoing investigations, but then you had the last one here. Employee debarred following sentencing of theft and resale of hundreds of government issued phones, tablets, and computers. So again, USAID calling for report fraud, but yet it seems like they're being investigated for a lot of fraud. So with the UN cutting funding, or UN having to cut their budget back to 2026 and lay off people, I think a lot of that comes from whenever we investigated at the beginning of the year, USAID, and it cut a lot of funding off to a lot of these organizations, and being one of them. And Trump even, I don't know if I've got it clipped, maybe not, but he actually kind of talked about what some of the stuff or what some of the stuff the UN was funding, which I thought was interesting. And a lot of it was like the illegals coming over the border, giving them the credit cards and all of that kind of stuff. Free hotel room.
What was it? $672 million to fund illegal immigrants for benefits and Medicaid and all the other stuff.
Yep. But we recently had Trump visit the UN and
he made a splash, dude.
Oh my God.
He burned the house down.
The speech, his whole entire speech was fire. And then his last closing words was awesome. And I've got some of that toward the end of the show, but yeah, you're right, Parabellum. He burned the house down. But had this right here. What's your take on this situation?
I don't know, man. I'm still 50-50 on this ordeal. There was a few things that happened. The Trump escalator stopping midway up. And then you had the teleprompter that went down. What you do have is you have Pam Bondi, who's doing an actual investigation into this to see if there was anything more to it. I would definitely want to wait for that investigation to see what she says. Was this mishap? That is the question. Was this mishap or was this intentional?
Well, I think it was just not long before Trump visited the UN for this that I think it was a UN employee, possibly. I can't remember exactly. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed like it was a UN employee had put out on X or some social media account that we should totally stop the escalator.
Mm-hmm.
When Trump goes up it. Mm-hmm. Something along those lines. But
yeah, there was definitely that put out there, man. So, I mean, and then it happens. So it definitely raises question, and it does warrant an investigation. And I believe that.
Again, Trump has cut a lot of their funding off. I could see them being mad and doing things like this to hinder his time at the UN and his speech.
Oh yeah, well, I think he got him back pretty good. He talked about the deal that he had planned on creating for the UN to restructure their building and give them a great deal and make it very nice and have everything operational, but they turned it down and they actually went elsewhere. I think it was Saudi Arabia or some other contractors or stuff, and they ended up with a broken escalator and a teleprompter. So I mean, he wins, dude.
Yeah, it wasn't just the escalator and teleprompter. He also had audio problems.
Audio. They lowered the microphone volume. Was that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Because after he got done, he said he had went to Melania and asked her, how'd I do? And she said, I couldn't hear a word you were saying. All the people at the UN had to put the in-ear translator in just to hear Trump.
Oh yeah. That's 3, man. 1, all right. 2, I don't know. 3.
Yep.
Check it
so to me, it's looking like all this was intentional.
I
Excuse
can
me.
go with you on that. Absolutely. At this point, I would not dismiss it.
It's hard to dismiss it. Let's see what else we got here. 1 second. Let me swing back through stuff here. Oh yeah, we also had I've got a video clip here. Let me load that up real quick. One of the things Trump talked about, and we can talk around this for a little bit.
Okay.
Let me see clips and bio and COVID. Trump talked about the bioweapon there, or stopping to develop bioweapons. But let's give this a play.
Also calling on every nation to join us in ending the development of biological weapons once and for all. And biological is terrible, and nuclear is even beyond, and we include nuclear in that. We want to have a cessation of the development of nuclear weapons. We know, and I get to view it all the time. Sir, would you like to see? And I look at weapons that are so powerful that we just can't ever use them. If we ever use them, the world literally might come to an end. There would be no United Nations to be talking about. There would be no nothing. Just a few years ago, reckless experiments overseas gave us a devastating global pandemic. Yet despite that worldwide catastrophe, many countries are continuing extremely risky research into bioweapons and man-made pathogens. This is unbelievably dangerous.
Oh,
Wow.
Wrong. There we go. So he was talking about the bioweapons there.
Yeah.
You got anything on that, Parabellum?
No, I was just going over what that video said. So a couple of the good points he made was reckless experiments overseas. He was kind of being safe still yet in the UN, not exactly mentioning COVID, but he definitely was talking about COVID. I think anybody with common sense knows that, and was addressing the fact that countries are spending money into those bioweapons. And it's just immorally correct. I think President Trump's 100% correct on that. We should not be spending money, nations at all, to move forward into bioweapons. For me, nuclear weapons is a big scare, right? Everybody's afraid of the nuclear weapons, but even more so, biological weapons and chemical weapons, those are just as scary to me.
Mm-hmm.
So
Clandestine on the X had posted this a couple days ago, or like this is the day of when it happened, and he said, I don't think you realize the earth-shattering magnitude of what just happened. Trump just stood up in front of the UN General Assembly and told them all to their faces that they must stop making biological weapons. This means Trump knows COVID was a man-made bioweapon, which means he knows who's responsible for making COVID, which means someone is responsible for crimes against humanity. And I agree with him right there on that.
Well, where do you think he's going there with that one? There's so many angles. Is it Fauci? Is it China? Is it Wuhan? Which way are you going to go,
Mm-hmm.
All of them? That'd be my guess.
I hope Fauci ends up going down. But anyway, he goes on a couple other things, points he makes in that, but like just that whole entire post he had made, I thought was interesting. You can give the whole thing a read if you want, or we can move on to the next little slide here.
No,
we'll
go ahead and move on.
Okay, so actually, let me remove a couple of these slides real quick before the stage gets too crowded, and then I have a hard time finding stuff. Remove. Okay, so we also had Trump come out. What's your take on the Tylenol situation? That Trump come out and
well, there you go. Let's see where you're at. Too much Tylenol in pregnancy could affect development, and Trump links autism. So for me, this is nothing new, honestly. This is something that's been told probably since 2010, 2013. And for me, I felt like half the world already knew that they should not be taking Tylenol during pregnancy. But that doesn't negate the fact of what the Democrats have done for the last 20 years of, just totally destroying social media and any kind of AI researches or manipulation of information for the public. And a lot of people have tended to forget that this was a bad thing. I think it's great what they're saying. For
Yeah.
me, I think the whole agenda was perfect. What they said, and it makes sense for anybody who has any common sense and is a parent or a mother. These are things that you may want to do to make sure and ensure that you have a healthy child.
Yeah. Let's see here. There was also this
Here,
one.
I'll show, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I'll show you real quick. So this was the Trump autism announcement, came out 9/22/2025. So this is basically kind of a little bit of the guidelines of what President Trump was looking for. Recommend no Tylenol for babies when they're given vaccines. Okay. So entirely too young. Their brain is not developed enough. They do not need that. MMR given as 3 separate shots. I agree with that 100%, because a lot of the big problem that you see with these vaccines that's coming to a lot of these studies is that they are just trying to conglomerate all of these shots into one. I don't know if it's a Ponzi scheme, money scheme, whatever's going on, but they're definitely not putting the health of the American people
Big pharma
into perspective on that. Big pharma, yeah. Label Tylenol should not be used in pregnancy except for emergency. To me, I think that's a big one. What do you think, dude? Because if you went and grabbed a bottle of Tylenol right now, does it say that? That's one of my points I'd like to go over.
I've never really read a bottle of Tylenol, so I don't know.
Look, go grab that bottle. I bet it doesn't say anything about autism or ADHD connections.
Honestly, I don't even know if I have Tylenol in my house. Like, we go to the dollar store and buy.
Yeah.
So whatever we got's a generic, but it may say the same thing.
This is the thing, man. If it comes down to litigation in the court lawsuits, this is going to be one thing, is you need to label that. You need to put that label up there, because this could allow parents or mothers to be able to, sue. Oh yeah. Yeah, no, you should be able to. I think they'd be able to sue for not having that label on there and for not being informed that this could create these things. And you got the Trump administration, RFK and Maha, they're doing their own study right now. That's going to be able to bring down, what's really going on with this Tylenol. Another big one: remove aluminum from vaccines. So you've got alum salts that are in a lot of those vaccines. You've got the blocking of, what is it? Glutathione. Yeah, we're having a acetaminophen moment. Liberals will go nuts. But removing that, man. And you got the blockage of absorptions of metal. And Tylenol does the same thing. So now you're getting the 1-2 bam effect on that. Spread shots out over 4 to 5 visits. Okay, yes, that makes sense. Again, you don't want to put them all in one shot. And again, with your young child, I think it is great common sense, knowledge to be able to spread to the people, to say, you know what, spread those doctor visits out. We don't have to give them so many to the children so fast.
Shit, I was muted. I didn't realize it.
Yeah.
But yeah. Never mind. Go ahead.
I would think anybody with a common sense brain, which we know that's not the far left, okay, they're going to listen to this information and they're going to see, you know what, that makes sense. Maybe these are guidelines that I should take to ensure the safety of my children. Will you hear that from far left liberal media? Will you hear that from far left liberal ideology, mental epidemic people? No, I don't think you will. Here's another one that he put out. Number 5, hepatitis B vaccine only recommended for ages 12 and up. I think that's yet another great thing. A point that President Trump brought out was that, that is either a sexually transmitted disease or it's you contract it from blood to blood transfusion. Okay. People in the drug addicted world understand this. If you use somebody's needle, you just got hepatitis C, right? And if they had hepatitis B, maybe you get hepatitis B. Okay. So are children going to be doing these things, when they're 0 to 12? Let's hope not. But I think that's a great recommendation to keep that away, because that hepatitis B shot apparently does a whole lot of damage to the neural development of a child's brain. There's really no need for that at that young of an age. And the last thing that President Trump's announcement did is, I believe it validated autism moms who know vaccines are responsible for their child's autism. Okay. So you got a little bit of vindication, a little bit of validation. Here's the thing about those studies, man. There you go. Tylenol.
Yep.
We actually don't recommend
2017 Tylenol. Oh, go ahead.
When was that? When was that?
2017.
2017. Here, you guys probably seen it in the feed. This is your weekly news wrap up. We actually don't recommend using any of our products while pregnant. Thank you for taking the time to voice your concerns today. Okay, so that is Tylenol making a statement in 2017.
Yeah. Then we got
Oh, yeah.
we got this. You and I were talking about this a couple nights ago with the CYP 450.
Oh, yeah, here he goes. This Dr. Mark Galili. We all know it's the Tylenol administered after the vaccines, which they tend to give to a lot of children, or they recommend it for their parents to give it to them if they don't administer it at the hospital. The heavy metals accumulate, then Tylenol inhibits CYP 450. It also, which basically impairs the glutathione pathways, and what you get is inflammation in the brain, triggering damage to neurons, and hence autism is created. So the thing about this that I've seen is that you're getting mixed results out there with the studies, and I believe that's a direct result of Big Pharma trying to protect their big cash cow, their moneymaker. But you actually have good doctors out there that are putting out studies. John Hopkins, they're putting out studies that say, yes, in like 2015, this is not recommended for women who are pregnant, but out of 27 studies that are known, 13 went the other way and said it does not cause autism, but the majority of these studies say yes, they do. There is a causal link between autism.
Yep.
Here you go.
Second one up from the bottom there. Neurological disorders in the brain. CYP enzymes are involved in metabolizing neurotransmitters, neurosteroids, and fatty acids. But basically what this gets at is it is linked to the development of neurological conditions such as Parkinson's and Alzheimer's disease. So those are just two, but autism's right in there with it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Here you go. Let me see if I can pull this up. Here's another one from Pepe. Welcome, Pepe.
Pepe!
Taking Tylenol during pregnancy. This came from MJ Truth Ultra over there on X. If you guys don't follow him,
he puts good stuff out.
Check out MJ Truth Ultra and give him a follow. We appreciate his information. Taking Tylenol during pregnancy associated with elevated risk for autism and ADHD. Who did this study? Well, I'll be damned. It's a John Hopkins study analyzing umbilical cord blood samples found that newborns with the highest exposure to acetaminophen were about 3 times more likely to be diagnosed with ADHD or autism spectrum disorder in childhood. So there's another one,
it's almost like the Democrats they put this stuff out, and then after we use it against them, like, no, we really didn't mean it. And it reminds me of what we're seeing right now with
no accountability, no self-accountability within that.
Well, it reminds me of what we're seeing right now with the government shutdown. You had the Democrats screaming before, we can't have government shutdown. We can't have government shutdown. And they're like, shut the government down. Shut the government down.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Here, I got something for you since you was bringing that up. I thought this was an absolute power play by President Trump and the administration as far as government shutdown goes. So basically the way that worked with the government shutdown that's going on is that liberals and Democrats were asking for, what was it, like billions of dollars for illegal immigrants as far as food stamps and Medicaid. And that was their stipulation. So we're not going to vote to pass your bill unless you incorporate this into the bill that you're trying to pass. And then President Trump basically says this: the White House is planning for mass layoffs if the government does indeed shut down, using the opportunity of a funding lapse to remove more federal employees. What a freaking president, dude. So basically, Trump's response was, well, you go ahead and do that. Because if you do, I promise you, I'll use that time to cut back bureaucrats in all government positions and do mass layoffs. That way you don't have a job when you come back.
Yep.
So you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. He put them in a corner, and I do believe this bill will pass. So
you got to love Trump.
You do, man. The memo from the White House Office of Management and Budget directs agencies to consider firing employees working on any program that is not funded by another law, such as Republicans' One Big Beautiful Bill Act, and which does not align with the president's priorities. Once government funding is reinstated after a shutdown, agencies should revise their plans to keep only the smallest number of employees necessary to legally operate. So that was freaking awesome, dude. They thought they had, a big move going on as far as the liberals, and we're going to get the Republicans on this. And Trump says, go ahead, shut it down. I'll fire as many of you as I can, dude. Great.
Since we're on this this stuff with Tylenol, and we were kind of touching a little bit on vaccines there, Trump had posted this. I think we played it on last Friday's show, but let's give the people one more play of this one. And Trump had posted this on Truth Social. Check this out.
Show them the thimerosal, which we keep in a metal container because we're a little afraid of it, and it's a very fine powder.
This is thimerosal, which is labeled very toxic, has cumulative effects, can cause damage to the kidneys, to the respiratory system, skin, to the nervous system. It specifically warns on here that it can cause reproductive and developmental toxicity, meaning that it can cause things like autism and other neurodevelopmental disorders. This is immensely toxic stuff.
And it's in vaccine.
And this is what's in the vaccine. It's important to realize we're talking about a whole range of products. Vaccines are a big one because, of course, you're directly injecting it. For example, this is tetanus vaccine. This one expires, it's a little outdated now, in 2007. And here's the thimerosal. 1 to 10,000 is a preservative. Perhaps the biggest one in the U.S., at least, that's for exposure to mercury is the influenza vaccine. Influenza vaccine is now recommended for all pregnant women, all infants, all children on a yearly basis. You're supposed
You
to
have last year's influenza? Understand that thimerosal is not added at the end. It's not like, well, that factory next year can make thimerosal free. Thimerosal, you either have to have a thimerosal free factory or you have to not have one. They add thimerosal at each step because the factory is not clean and not sterile. So you either have to have an expensive sterile factory where you don't need thimerosal, or you have to have one that produces thimerosal. It's going to need thimerosal or something the whole time. It needs to be stopped.
This is the influenza vaccine from Adventist Pasteur, their flu zone. Thimerosal, 25 micrograms of mercury per dose.
I'd like to point out that a lot of people didn't know, and I'm one of them. I've given 2,000 Rogam shots. I've been in vaccines for 35 years. I didn't know that Rogam had thimerosal in it. So I think a lot of the doctors were unaware. They were unaware that even the word thimerosal meant mercury.
I just want to pause that there for a second. I had no idea what thimerosal even was, let alone know that it was mercury. And this is in vaccines. Let's finish watching this here. Oh, never mind. That was the end of it. Okay. You're muted, Parabellum.
Sorry about that, buddy.
Oh, there you go. But yeah, I had no idea.
Wow.
I had no idea what it even was. I never even heard of it before. And then I find out that it's mercury and it's in vaccines.
Yeah, absolutely. Mercury, I mean, absolutely deadly. I mean, anybody knows mercury. I mean, they got rid of it in your thermostats in the houses in the 80s or 90s. You know, I remember being a kid, dude, having one of those thermostats and just watching that mercury go around in the vial. You know, I didn't have no idea I was playing with death, man.
I had the thermometers that when you were a kid that your mom would take your temperature with, and I'm just not going to go into some of the places it got took at, but you know, I remember those thermometers, and mom was like, don't ever touch it. If it broke, like mom was like, you know, don't touch it. It's mercury. Don't touch it. Oh, yeah. Isn't that what made the Hatter mad in Alice in Wonderland?
Yeah, I believe so. Mercury. Yeah.
There's a lot
of Mad Hatter, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he used
in that video, he made a really great point. And one of the things he was saying that made sense to me was that, you know, you're going to look up on Google AI, or you're going to look on Grok, or you're going to look anywhere in the world, and they're going to say, well, thimerosal was removed from all childhood vaccines in 2001. But one of the great points I thought that video brought up was that once you introduce thimerosal into a factory, you cannot remove that thimerosal agent from that factory in the creation process. Anybody who's ever made wine before knows that if you make a batch of wine and you go through with all of your tubes and your 5-gallon bucket and all your barometers and everything like that, you have to absolutely clean everything up. 100% before you can even do that again. But with thimerosal, it's so horrible and hazardous that once you put it in, the only way to get rid of it is to have an entirely new facility. And I just don't see a lot of those big pharma putting the money in a facility. I rather see them doing what they always do, put it into advertising, So I definitely see thimerosal still in some of these products, even though they put on the label, no thimerosal. I thought that was a great point.
Yeah, just found it interesting that it was in vaccines. And, like I was talking about with the Hatter there, he went mad from mercury poisoning. If I'm not mistaken, that's how the story goes, why he's the Mad Hatter. But that's Alice in Wonderland. And in Alice in Wonderland, there's a lot of Alice in Wonderland mentioned in Q, and now we're seeing some mercury stuff. I don't know. Maybe it has some connection. I don't know. I'm just kind of tossing it out there. It may be noteworthy.
That's the big thing that you see about like thimerosal is another thing that'd be noteworthy to mention is that there was supposedly removed from childhood vaccines, but what about the influenza shot? What about the flu shot? Okay, so that wasn't until recently. Okay, in June 2025, the CDC Advisory Committee voted to recommend removing it. It's not going to take effect until 2025-2026 influenza. So there you are getting, if you were going out to that local Rite Aid or that Walgreens, or maybe you went down to your Food City and you went to your Walmart and you hit up the pharmacy and it's like, yeah, get your flu shot. There's a good chance you got thimerosal in your body. So that is more recent. So I appreciate that coming into effect with the Maha movement and President Trump.
But this goes back to this, like what the guy's talking about in this with inhibiting CYPD or CYP 450. Impairing those glutathione. How do you pronounce that?
Glutathione
pathways, which that's leaving a lot of trace elements of the like vaccines and stuff like that in the body. So you get vaccinated, but then like you go to the hospital and they give you Tylenol and stuff like that. Like that inhibits or impairs. I'm sorry, impairing it. So a lot of these metallics and stuff like that in the vaccines get left in your body and build up, which ends up in the end causing autism and multiple other problems.
Yeah, so you're seeing the combination effect right there with the glutathione pathway being blocked.
From what I've read, and again, guys, this
is our opinion.
These are our opinions. Don't take any of our statements as medical advice or anything like that. This show is just our opinions on this stuff, and as we see it. So
this is stuff we're going to believe, and this is what we're going to implement for my family. I do imagine you would as well. My lady absolutely did not use any kind of shots, and actually negated a lot of the vaccine shots for the children when they were younger. So we were already on this path long before this even took place.
What do you say we get into some of Trump's speech moments that at the UN?
Oh man, President Trump jumping in, dude. Okay, my gosh, there were so many. You could watch the entire NATO speech, which some are saying it was his best speech ever. You can watch it in its entirety, and it was absolutely great. He talked on everything from climate change to the UN on funding immigration. He talked on the biolabs. Let's see here, green news scam. He touched every single topic. Buying Russian oil, called them all out. But here we go.
He took NATO to school.
He did.
Which
one do you want to start out with? Let's start out with the.
I've got a few. So yep, go ahead.
Okay, so this is a little bit of President Trump just absolutely destroying the UN. Here we go. If you didn't see it, check it out.
Likewise, in a period of just 7 months, I have ended 7 unendable wars. They said they were unendable. You're never going to get them solved. Some were going for 31 years, 2 of them, 31, think of it, 31 years. One was 36 years. One was 28 years. I ended 7 wars. And in all cases, they were raging with countless thousands of people being killed. This includes Cambodia and Thailand, Kosovo and Serbia, the Congo and Rwanda, a vicious, violent war that was, Pakistan and India, Israel and Iran, Egypt and Ethiopia, and Armenia and Azerbaijan. It included all of them. No president or prime minister, and for that matter, no other country has ever done anything close to that. And I did it in just 7 months. It's never happened before. I've never done anything like that. I'm very honored to have done it. It's too bad that I had to do these things instead of the United Nations doing them. And sadly, in all cases, the United Nations did not even try to help in any of them. I ended 7 wars, dealt with the leaders of each and every one of these countries, and never even received a phone call from the United Nations offering to help in finalizing the deal. All I got from the United Nations was an escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle. If the First Lady wasn't in great shape, she would have fallen. But she's in great shape. We're both in good shape. We both stood.
And then a
teleprompter.
Got some laughter coming out of the crowd, too.
These are the 2 things I got from the United Nations, a bad escalator and a bad teleprompter. Thank you very much. And by the way, it's working now. It just went on. Thank you. I think I should just do it.
So that was the beginning of a wonderful speech.
Yeah, it was. I heard a lot of 7s in there. That was kind of interesting. That magic number 7, which I had. Let me play this one right here. I'm sitting here the whole time that's playing, listening to Eye of the Tiger, and I'm like,
yeah, I know, dude. For some reason, the video played it in the background. Yeah.
It was good. It worked.
All right, good deal.
But anyway, I've got this one. Like he was talking about a lot of 7s in there, so I found this interesting that he's talking about. And he's talking about the DC National Guards and all that stuff that went down there. And what he mentions in here was interesting. And I put a little Q drop in here with this. So check this out.
I'm in New York City. I'm feeling a lot safer. We're getting crime down. And by the way, speaking of crime, Washington, D.C. was the crime capital of America. Now it's after 12 days, it's a totally safe city. Everyone's going out to dinner. They're going out to restaurants. Your wife can walk down the middle of the street with or without you. Nothing's going to happen. My people have done a fantastic job. And yes, I called in the National Guard, and the National Guard took care of business. And they weren't politically correct, but they took care of business. We got 1,700 career criminals out, brought them back.
That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. And accordingly all experience has shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty, to throw off such government, and to provide new guards for their future security. From the Declaration of Independence, and quoted by Q.
So, are you there? Are you with me?
My bad. I was muted.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, like when he said 1,700 there, talking about the what the National Guard had arrested, that kind of sparked that drop to me. I looked it up, and that drop is talking about like the whole thing that Trump has done is, you know, and the people have done, and people have voted to overthrow this corrupt system that's in place. And all the stuff we've seen in that with the National Guard in DC, all the stuff they had cleaned up, the crime and everything. I think, you know, that really kind of, to me, that related to that drop quite a bit. Once I looked it up, drop 1,700. Y'all right there, Parabellum? Or you're digging.
My bad, buddy.
You're digging on something.
Creating a banner for us.
Oh, okay. But yeah, like that reminded me a whole lot of that drop. 1700 with Trump saying that 1700, and then what the drop talks about right from the Declaration of Independence about throwing out this corrupt system. Let's get into another one here. I'm not sure how long this one is. This is Trump talking about the children and the child trafficking and stuff. Or have you got one you want to play before that?
Hold on one second. Let me see. Before the children and the child trade. Yeah, there's plenty of moments that went off at the NATO. What I do have, NATO, Trump crushing the UN on funding immigration. I think that's a good one to play.
Okay, if we're going to get to immigration, let me pull this one up real quick because I had some Q on this too, and he's talking about immigration. So let's give this a play.
Is the UN not solving the problems it should? Too often, it's actually creating new problems for us to solve. The best example is the #1 political issue of our time, the crisis of uncontrolled migration. It's uncontrolled. Your countries are being ruined. The United Nations is funding an assault on Western countries and their borders. In 2024, the UN budgeted $372 million in cash assistance to support an estimated 624,000 migrants journeying.
Let me remove that real quick. 624,000 migrants is what the UN budgeted to support. 624. And what did they do with these migrants when they would catch them back then? They'd catch them and they would release them.
Catch and release for the Biden.
Yep. So Q624 says catch and release, safety and security. Coincidence? Have you learned how to read the messages? And Trump saying 624,000 migrants, Q624 talking about the exact same thing.
Into the United States. Think of that. The UN is supporting people that are illegally coming into the United States, and then we have to get them out.
I just thought that was, I won't say coincidence. I thought that was really interesting that he had mentioned that specific number, because I think I went and looked it up, and according to Google, it was a little bit less. But I think Trump picked that number, 624,000, just to point at Q624 with the catch and release. I mean, that was my take on it.
That's a possibility, man. I know for me, I mean, he was talking, one of the main big points is that what was absolutely crushing is you're standing in front of the UN and all of these world leaders, and you're basically outright telling them, you're funding illegal immigration. It's going to destroy your country. Stop it. Look at what we've done in our country. Okay. And how much we're moving forward. And you got to remember, I mean, that was one of the first things that President Trump took hold of. You're now at 0 on the border crossings for 2 months in a row.
Yeah. Look at the UK now. What are they?
Yeah. Oh, they are being swamped right now. It's a problem that they don't know how to control. Hopefully they get a ring on it. It's definitely one of our allies in a lot of business deals that we have, and they need to maybe take President Trump's advice on that matter.
Yep.
And so
somehow
you in on that was huge.
Somehow I don't think they will. I don't know. But did you had a bigger clip on Trump on migration?
No, that was pretty much it. I think you got it right there. Yeah,
okay.
that covered the main big point, was that President Trump basically telling people, stop funding the illegal immigrants that ran into the United States. That was another thing he said. You basically funded, as the UN, you funded illegal immigrants that overran my country, and I don't appreciate it. So kudos to President Trump for that.
What you got next from Trump? You got anything?
Well, I got a lot for the NATO man. He also spoke on climate change and how it will destroy your country. Check this one out. President Trump on climate change, and you better not fall for this crap, the Green New Scam.
In 1982, the executive director of the United Nations Environmental Program predicted that by the year 2000, climate change would cause a global catastrophe. He said that it will be irreversible.
Actually, it's just climate change.
As any nuclear holocaust would be. This is what they said at the United Nations. What happened? Here we are. Another UN official stated in
What
1989 that within a decade, entire nations could be wiped off the map by global warming. Not happening. You know, it used to be global cooling. If you look back years ago in the 1920s and the 1930s, they said global cooling will kill the world.
No.
We have to do something.
Just calling out all their
global
fallacies.
Warming will kill the world, but then it started getting cooler, so now they could just call it climate change, because that way they can't miss. It's climate change, because if it goes higher or lower, whatever the hell happens, there's climate change.
You're involved.
It's the greatest con job ever perpetrated on the world, in my opinion. Climate change, no matter what happens, you're involved in that. No more global warming, no more global cooling. All of these predictions made by the United Nations and many others, often for bad reasons, were wrong.
Yeah.
They were made by stupid people that have cost their countries fortunes and given those same countries no chance for success.
I mean, absolutely called them out on climate change. Went all the way back to 1930 and talked about
global warming, global cooling, global warming, global cooling. Yeah,
basically exposed the entire Democratic playbook.
Like I said,
nobody had the balls to ever do that. Until President Trump shows up at the UN.
Yeah. He also had this to say when it comes to that the environmental kind of stuff. Check this out.
Carbon footprint was a big thing a few years ago. I remember hearing about the carbon footprint, and then President Obama would get into Air Force One, a massive Boeing 747, and not a new one, an old one with old engines that spew everything into the atmosphere. He'd talk about the carbon footprint, we must do so. Then he'd get in and he'd fly from Washington to Hawaii to play a round of golf. And then he'd get back onto that big, beautiful plane and he'd fly back and he'd talk about again global warming and the carbon footprint. It's a con job.
He's just calling them out, dude.
Yeah, I know. I love it.
I love it, man. But you talk about the carbon footprint, and you're talking about, there's so much that goes into that, Like the dinosaurs were extinct, and it's one thing that I always like to talk about. The dinosaurs, they were extinct, and then you look at the parts per million CO2 emissions. I mean, they were up in like the billions and trillions, But the Earth absolutely healed itself. Yeah, we went through an ice age and this, that, and other. But you got to think of the number, the billions and the millions. Okay, trillions for ppm. Like, it was absolutely a ridiculous number. I don't know for sure, but the Earth absolutely healed itself. I think today we're looking at a ppm of about running around 420 to 421. That's absolutely safe for human beings. What is the number that's unsafe for human beings? I'm pretty sure it's up in like the 4,000 parts per million range. Yep. So, everything that he's saying, is you're just generating a whole bunch of horse shit. Scaring people, you're fear mongering with global cooling to global warming. Then you change the name again. This is what Democrats do. This is how they got away with fraud. They got away with money. Change the name of the business. Okay, change the name of global warming. They're doing the same tactic all the way across the board, and it's pathetic.
I'm going to go ahead and say that this is probably going to go down in history as maybe Trump's greatest speech.
Absolutely, dude.
Like everything, like he absolutely lit them on fire.
I mean, he's got to get them in line, and they need to hear a different perspective rather than everything they've heard from far left liberal ideology of Democrats for the last 20 years, and all of our social media being controlled, and all they ever see is we need to follow America, and apparently we need to follow the Green New Deals and worry about climate change. Like, cut that shit out. I mean, it's where President Trump's at. He's like, drill, baby, drill. It's time for that shit. The carbon footprint. I mean, everything. It's all bullshit.
I had gotten into a big fiasco there on X with a liberal over that whole climate change and the windmills and the solar power stuff.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah,
it was crazy.
Yeah, another one. He went right into talking about the Green New scam. Not too far after that. Good little quick video, 34 seconds. Check this out. President Trump at NATO talking to the UN leaders about that Green New scam. He says, don't do it. You'll ruin your country.
If you don't get away from this green scam, your country is going to fail. And I'm really good at predicting things, They actually said during the campaign they had a hat, the best-selling hat. Trump was right about everything. And I don't say that in a braggadocious way, but it's true. I've been right about everything. And I'm telling you that if you don't get away from the green energy scam, your country is going to fail. And if you don't stop people that you've never seen before, that you have nothing in common with, your country is going to fail.
So I thought that was another great one that came up, guys. I guess Hex had to go to the restroom there. Oh, there we go. Anyways, that was another great one that came up. President Trump talking about the Green New Scam. That's nothing new. He's been doing that for quite some while because we are all about drill, baby, drill in the conservative side and the conservative viewpoint of things. So the Green New Scam, absolutely. I have to agree with President Trump. It's a total scam. And all of these countries that fell into it. You know,
yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yep. So, no, I apologize. I was trying to tell you before you started the clip. I got to run in here real quick.
Oh, okay.
Had something come up.
It happens. Let's see if there was anything else that I had for NATO.
I've got one more. If you don't
okay, go ahead.
Okay. I thought this was a good one too. When he was talking about the children. Let's give it a play.
The previous administration also lost nearly 300,000 children. Think of that. They lost more than 300,000 children, little children, who were trafficked into the United States on the Biden watch, many of whom have been raped, exploited, and abused, and sold. Sold. Nobody talks about that. The fake news doesn't write about it.
Yeah, they don't want to face that accountability.
Young children.
Yeah.
Who are missing or dead. And we found a lot of these children and we're sending them back, and we've been sending them back to their parents. They said, nobody knows who they are. They said, where do you come from? And they'll give us a country and we'll find out and we'll figure it out and we'll bring them back to their homes. And the mother and father rush to the door and their tears in their eyes. They can't believe that they're seeing their son or daughter, their little son or daughter again. We've done almost 30,000 of them so far. Any system that results in the mass trafficking of children is inherently evil. Yet that is exactly what the globalist migration agenda has done, and it's what it's all about. In America, those days, as you know, are over. The Trump administration is working, and we are continuing to work to track down the villains that are causing this problem, and also, as I said, to get back the 30,000 we've already returned. Now I think we're going to have another. We're going to find a lot. You're not going to find all of them. 300, more than 300,000. They're lost or they're dead. They're lost or they're dead because of the animals that did this.
Wow. Absolutely heartbreaking.
Look how many has been found through I think it was today. It came out. Trump was asked if he was worried about any of his like FBI director or anything like that being persecuted, like Comey. And Trump was pretty much like, no. I mean, that's pretty much what it come down to. But if you look at it, Trump's right, because look at all the children that have been uncovered, found, and returned through the Kash Patel FBI.
Oh yeah.
Like there has been a crap ton. Let's see.
I can't remember where they're at. Like 200, 300. I can't remember what the number is, but they found thousands of these missing children that have been, trafficked across the border, and separated from their families.
And again, I think one of the things that Trump was doing in this whole entire NATO speech, like I touched on this too at the top of the show, was that if you step back and take the 40,000 foot view, you see how all this connects. Well, what it looked like to me, going back and watching all of this, is Trump was connecting all of these dots with how the whole entire thing it's all tied together.
Yeah. Well, that's what it was. 4,700 missing children found.
The missing children, election fraud, all of that stuff. It all ties together. Epstein. And I think that's what Trump was kind of, in my opinion, that's what he was kind of doing with what he done here at NATO and the speech he had gave. It was touching on all these things, like you were saying.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Trump was kind of kind of doing with what he done here at NATO and the speech he had gave. It was touching on all these things, like you were saying. And I think that's what Trump was kind of kind of doing with what he done here at NATO and the speech he had gave. It was touching on all these things, like you were saying.
Well, yeah, a lot of these countries are going to be connected to that, whether, directly or indirectly. They're going to have something attached to that with them that they've had to experience as well, just like the United States. So bringing that to the UN and putting it at the forefront of problems. And then you got Kash Patel talking about, they found 4,700 missing children as part of a broader anti-trafficking and child protection efforts. 4,000 kids have been saved since Trump's inauguration. Like, all these numbers are coming out, and it needs to come to the forefront. Take care of your immigration and stop these child sex trafficking rings.
Here's another thing on that too, is like, all these children being found, and you got all these people whining, nothing's happening. That's a pretty big happening with all these children being found and uncovered and saved.
There's absolutely a lot, and we did that on the last show. Kash Patel dropping his numbers of everything that's happened under the transparent administration of Kash Patel since he's been, FBI director. So, 33,000 pages of documents released, JFK files, Martin Luther King files released, Epstein files released, video footage. He's the most transparent FBI director and has done it, and he has the stats to back it up. Unlike any other previous FBI director, we say what was James Comey, it's the proof is in the pudding. Just follow the actions is what I say.
You are correct, sir. The proof is in the pudding. What do you say we get some? You got something else?
Well, here's a funny one. So after the big NATO Trump meeting and everything, there was a funny little video that's been surfacing. Maybe you guys seen it, but it was President Trump putting up his Hall of Fame and all the videos. So I think this would be a great one. If you haven't seen this, absolutely hilarious. Check out what he did for Joe Biden.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Who the fuck is that guy?
The troller in chief is still on it, ladies.
I know.
He is killing. Look at all that gold, baby.
When it came out, I laughed my ass off.
I was
dying.
Like,
oh my God, you got to watch this. He is so the troller in chief.
That was absolutely hilarious, man. The whole world responded to that. We love it.
Yeah.
When he does his little jokes, he's standing on the roof of the White House. Nukes. We're going nuclear. I love that shit, dude. Yes, sprinkle it. We got a little bit of the one final video I do want to share with you for the NATO.
Omar?
No, well, for NATO, actually.
For NATO, okay.
For NATO. This one's for you, and I know you're always talking about the golden age, and we love to talk about gold and all those things and stuff, but the real funny thing about this video is that it is that the video is clipped to 17 seconds. President Trump talking about the golden age. What do you think about that, Hicks?
I love
America is blessed with the strongest economy, the strongest borders, the strongest military, the strongest friendships, and the strongest spirit of any nation on the face of the earth. This is indeed the golden age of America.
Heck yeah. You're muted, Parabellum. Oh, there you go.
Sorry about that.
But I've got some more into that at the end of the show there. That was
good deal. I just wanted to put a little clip in there for you. It was set to 17 seconds talking about the golden age. I had to stimulate the curiosities at the queue for you and get you loaded up for that later on, my friend.
That was from the closing of his speech, wasn't it? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that was part of it from the closing of his speech. It was short little.
I've got the entire closing. Got some music set to it to close the show out with once we get into that. But what do you say we jump into some Comey stuff here?
Oh man,
yeah. There we go. So
what happened with Comey today?
Comey's been indicted twice, 2 accounts, obstruction and for lying.
Absolutely. I was loving this when it came out.
Okay, so they had up until the 30th before the statute of limitations was going to run out on this. And everybody was like anticipating, come on, Comey indictment. And boom, it happened. And I was actually putting the show. I didn't realize it until later last night when I was putting some of the show together that I got to my Comey section. I started putting it together, and I had a whole different lineup for this at that time. But then I was like, okay, let's see what's new on Comey. And I go to look it up on Google and see what's new on Comey. And I seen that Comey got indicted. I'm like, total,
that was great, dude.
Total change a lot.
The stars aligned in the sky. We're waiting for this accountability. I mean, everything is working. You hear the storm coming. Yeah, no, it's coming.
So immediately, as soon as I seen this news, I called Parabellum here, and I'm like, "Oh my God, did you see it? Have you seen the breaking news?" But Parabellum had already seen it earlier because I missed it because I was putting the show together or some of the show, and like he done a lot of his shit tonight. But anyway, I'd missed that because I was in my part of putting the show together.
Oh yeah.
But Comey's been indicted on two accounts. So that's 2 indictments, if I'm not mistaken. What do you got there?
That's the actual indictment papers that were released, United States District Court. It came out of the East District of Virginia. I'll just read it real briefly, just to kind of go over the indictments that are going against Comey. On or about September 30th, 2020, in the Eastern District of Virginia, the defendant James Comey did willfully and knowingly make materially false, fictitious, and fraudulent statement in a matter within the jurisdiction of the legislative branch of the government of the United States, by falsely stating to a U.S. senator during a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing that he had not authorized someone else at the FBI to be an anonymous source in news reports regarding an FBI investigation concerning Person 1. The statement was false because Comey then and there knew he, in fact, had authorized Person 3. They got a little anonymous right now, to serve as an anonymous source in the news report regarding an FBI investigation concerning Person 1. And then the final stage of that, on or about September 30th, East Virginia, the defendant, James Comey, did corruptly endeavor to influence, obstruct, and impede the due and proper exercise of the power of inquiry under which an investigation was being had before the Senate Judiciary Committee by making false and misleading statements before that committee. So to make that all make a little bit of a sense, I do have, let me see if I've got it here. This is Comey lying on the stand, and this is what those documents are talking about. And those are just the professional litigation papers as far as the indictment goes. But check it out. 13 seconds. Here's Comey.
Do you stand by your House testimony on March 20th that there was no surveillance of the Trump campaign that you're aware of?
Correct.
You would know about it if they were. Is that correct?
I think so, yes.
Okay.
Lie.
I think so.
So here we go. What do you think about it, buddy?
I think so, yes. But I've got some more of Comey line. It's actually in an X post I've got coming up here in a couple slides.
Mm-hmm.
This is my thoughts on this whole thing. Like we had, Comey indicted for alleged false statements, obstruction of congressional proceedings. So Comey indictment, accountability phase start, ? Like, is that where we're at? Like, that's what I'm thinking. We're starting to enter the accountability phase.
I think we are.
I've got some more into that a little bit here in the next few slides. You got anything else before we jump deeper into this?
Well, when the news did come out about Comey, I did find this little video that I definitely want to share with you guys, but this kind of explains exactly how I felt. Let me see if I can find it for you guys. So the news came out, and this was the first 3 guys that had ever heard about it, apparently. I don't know if you guys seen it in your news feed, but they were definitely rejoicing up in heaven.
Grand jury has just handed down an indictment for former FBI Director James Comey. The Justice Department accuses Comey of lying to Congress while under oath back in 2020. Let's bring in David Spunt with all the breaking details. David, what can you tell us?
Well, Jillian, we are waiting to get the actual details of the.
Hallelujah, brothers.
Hallelujah. You got Charlie Kirk, Hulk Hogan in. Jesus, just loving down on this Comey indictment.
Epic, awesome.
See some accountability but, go ahead and continue, my friend.
All right. So we touched it on this on a previous episode with Big Country. We were talking about it. James Comey's daughter inspected missing Epstein suicide footage. Was that Bev in the background laughing?
Oh, that was the kids laughing.
Oh,
they got buttermilk ranch. You know, these kids ranch, they think it's crack cocaine. They laugh like that. Sorry.
Oh. But and Anon had posted Comey's daughter investigated Epstein suicide, and her husband does Ghislaine Maxwell's case, which we all know Maxwell's father had ties to the Mossad, because we had talked about that in that same episode that we went over this on. And Q says, do you believe in coincidence? So there's a little bit kind of like peeling some stuff back on Comey here with that one. But let's go a little deeper into this. What do you say?
Yeah.
U4783 says worth remembering, and it's got a link to a Comey Clinton thing, and Q's linking
Comey Clinton Foundation connection.
Yep, it's exposed. And this is by Breitbart, and you go look this up on Breitbart. It's still on there. Exposed FBI Director James Comey Clinton Foundation connection. So he has ties to the Clinton Foundation, and like I've been saying, this is all tied together, every bit of it. Clinton Foundation, crimes against humanity, children, whole Russia collusion. This is why they went so hard after Trump. But let's move on to you got anything on that, Parabellum? Or I know last night pre-show we were talking about you had some stuff with the Clinton Foundation.
I'm not sure. We already, I think, introduced it in previous shows about the Clinton Foundation tied to mass corruption. I think a lot of the world's already privy to the information to that.
Oh, I thought you were saying that you actually had last night. You had something that could tie into this Clinton Foundation. But,
I'm not sure. No.
Anyway, okay, let's continue. Inspector General report 3 Wiener SIC text 15-year-old sexually explicit. But this is Hillary Clinton Foundation and Crimes Against Humanity, and this was reported on Fox News in 2018. And Q had put that in the drop, and Q says meeting between Comey and Coleman on October 4th. Coleman told us that he that he could not recall this briefing with Comey. Coleman notes from October 4th contained the following entries. Anthony Weiner. So, again, all this ties together, especially with the children. And what did Anthony Weiner get arrested for? He got arrested for the whole thing with a minor.
Pedophile. Yeah, he's absolute pedophile. And he was heckled on the street.
Yep.
And we love that.
He got out of jail and was running for city council in New York, if I'm not mistaken, after this.
It is insane to me that,
after being a convicted pedophile,
you commit a crime. Okay, this is what's crazy to me. You can go out like a person like me who committed a crime in my younger youth, and it bars me from getting a lot of jobs and definitely destroys me on being able to do anything economically great as far as bettering myself. Anybody who ever had any kind of convicted felony can understand this. But what baffles me is that people like Anthony Weiner can go out and get pedophile convictions and a red dot put on them, but somehow here we are, they're able to bypass and continue to improve their lives. Okay, so somewhere justice is failing in this system.
Yeah,
I definitely have a huge problem with this. It's very hard for me with a previous, felony on my record. Of course, Army combat veteran as well. I got a lot of mixed things. There's a huge story there. I'll just tell you guys one day. But it's so hard for the average common person, that's not put out there as a huge legacy media character or whatever it might be, and they can just continue their lives. But yet your everyday average American who made a mistake and then bettered themselves, how hard is it for you guys to try and get a job? I guarantee you it's extremely hard to get a job. So how are people like Anthony Weiner getting away with it? That really pisses me off.
Yeah. And you're right. He did get heckled in the street. I think we had that on an episode. What's his name? Hollering at him in the street, pedophile and blah, 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 and had everybody else in the street screaming at him. That was really good. But
I
so
guess
when,
I should clarify for the viewers real quick. Sorry to interrupt. That was I'm a recovering drug addict, 10 years sober, and I'll make sure you guys understand that is what my felony was connected to. So nothing like frickin' Anthony Weiner, weirdo.
so with Anthony Weiner, I don't know if you guys remember what Anthony Weiner, like when he went down, one of the things that was recovered was his laptop, and within his laptop, there was a folder on his laptop that said insurance policy, and it had all kinds of incriminating evidence against Hillary Clinton. So let's continue with this Q drop here.
Yeah.
So number 2, unrelated. Number 3, Weiner, SIC, texting 15-year-old sexually explicit. 9/26, federal SW, iPhone, iPad, laptop. Initial analysis of laptop, thousands of emails. And Q says, Hillary Clinton Foundation, crimes against humanity.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something to really keep in the back of your mind. And, like all this ties into Comey, all this ties in because, Comey's mentioned in this too. Coleman, but that's all mentioned right in there. So let's go a little deeper into this, and I may have to stop here in a second and pull up some more slides because I'm kind of getting behind here. But Q 4769, and this is where I was talking about, like with the video you had played of Comey, and Q says Q's got a link to Comey's Twitter account there and his status that he had posted. And Q says, worth remembering, think what you know now. So think what you know now, and let's look over here on the right side of the screen and look at Comey that he had posted back in 2019, and it says, so it was all lies, no treason, no spying on campaign, no tapping, Trump wires. It was just good people trying to protect America, and that, yeah. Now think of what you know now.
Laughable now.
Think of the declassed documents that had came out here
laughable
recently.
then.
Yeah, but think of the declassed. Well, yeah, for people who knew what was going on then, but now, like I said, we went through that exposure phase, and a lot of people got exposed to these declassified documents that was showing that Comey ain't what a lot of people thought he was. Comey is a treasonous bastard.
Oh yeah.
So this is yet another.
You know what I'd love to see? I would, when the Kash Patel and he was in the congressional meeting, he was just burning everybody's ass. I would have loved to see what he would have said to somebody like James Comey, the ex-FBI director. Yeah, I would have loved to hear what
that would have been great
about that.
And we may still yet get to see that. I don't know. Let's see what happens. But yet, like I was saying, here's another example of Comey lying. I don't know if I don't know how the whole court thing is going to work with this, and if maybe this could be pulled up in court as evidence of Comey lying. But that's something to just keep in the back of your mind.
Oh, definitely. They got it all on videotape. I think they got a pretty good case, personally, in my opinion.
Actually, before we jump too far ahead, I'm going to have to remove a couple of these real quick and upload the last few slides here. So what am I on? I'm on. Okay, so bear with me. I need some Jeopardy music playing in the background while I'm doing this. That would make it a little more.
That'd be great.
A little more intense, I guess you could say. I've only got a couple more slides here. Oh, you're pulling up some Jeopardy music? I heard some typing going on. I know Parabellum.
You know me, dude.
He'll pull shit up on the fly.
You know me, man. I'll mess around while you're trying to figure all that stuff out.
All right. So anyway, I got a few more uploaded. I can get the last one here in just a second. But let's move into oh, there we go. I like it. What is Q? All right. So anyway, this is going to be hard for you guys to see because it was a huge Q drop in an audit posted. But basically, the whole entire every bit of that you see down through there says James Comey treason, James Comey treason, James Comey treason, James Comey treason, like it's just over and over and over and over. And that was Q 674.
Yep.
And before we go a little any further, you want to play that Jeopardy music one more time while I share my screen here?
That was in 2020, right? I'll take 2020, Alex, for James Comey treason. I got you, buddy.
All right. I'm trying to do this here. Oh, let's see. Wrong tab. Yeah, that's the tab I want to share. So let me redo that again. Yeah, I'm fired. Stop sharing and share screen. Let's see. Which one do I want to share? The only thing about like when I pull stuff up on QAG is when I go to share my tab, it doesn't really tell me which one I'm sharing. I think it's this one now, but it just says QAG tweets and news. So nope, wrong tab again. So one more time, Alex.
I'll take QAG for 400.
So I've only got one left. Let's see if, yep, this is it, I believe. There we go. Yeah, I got it this time. So let me put that on the stage here. So I want to share my screen real quick, and we're going to talk about, or we're just going to look real quick and take a peek at how many times, let's get that off of there for a second. Just a real quick peek into how many times that Q has mentioned James Comey. So I'd searched QAG for Comey so I can pull this up and show you guys that Comey is heavily mentioned in the Q drops. And like, you know, that's that post I pulled from, and you'll see a lot of posts I've pulled from down through here. There's the Comey treason post I was just had up a second ago, but like it scrolls and goes. Like Comey is heavily mentioned in the Q drops to you know, that he's a treasonous, pretty much a treasonous bastard. But you know, you got
people have known this since when? Since these Q drops, it's went from what, like 2017 to 2020, or was it before?
Yep, no, it was 2017, October of 2017 when Q started.
Yeah, so you got a lot of this information coming out. I mean, for a lot of people that have been in the conservative and they've seen Q, this is, you know, some of the information that they've known since 2017.
So this is all Comey. Everything in yellow there is Comey. But this is 2 pages full. And you scroll and scroll, like Comey is heavily in the Q drops. That's basically what I'm getting at with that. So let's go a little deeper into this with Comey, and this is where I'm going to really start getting into some. Oh, that's all right. I can throw her back up here. There we go. This was interesting. Like, you know, when I was looking through the Comey drops, I've got this drop split into 2 pieces because it was like a big long drop and I wanted to try to fit it in a slide. But Q had posted this image, and the link that Q has there on the right side to a Twitter account about Comey is, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was the lady who had posted this image, and Q had shared it in the drops, and Q says, was the corn ripe for harvesting? It is now 93 DK. And I've got 2 things highlighted there on the right. Was the corn ripe for harvesting? It is now. So if you guys remember, I think it was episode 19, we were talking about this with Chuck Grassley, and we were talking about the, you know, Chuck had posted, and I'll show this in a second, but Chuck was talking about corn being harvested, and he was like 2 weeks, I'll show you, blah 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 blah. But you know, this Q again, was the corn ripe for harvesting? And think exposure phase, because that's what we've been through a whole lot here recently, was a lot of exposure. Like I've been saying, it was the corn ripe for harvesting. It is now 93 DK Q. So I've got 93 highlighted for a little reason there that may be noteworthy. I'm not sure, but let's move to this next slide here, and we'll go a little deeper into this. So Chuck Grassley had posted this on the on August 21st, and this is the one I was talking about that we had talked about on the show previously. And Grassley says, weeks ago I told you of white silk, you know, the pollination, brown silk, corn's pollinated. But anyway, he's talking about the corn in this, and he says the ears are not done filling out. When there is a dent in the top of the kernels, then growth is complete. I'll show that in 2 weeks. So I've got that highlighted. I'll show that in 2 weeks. So let's take a look down at the bottom of his post there. And his post that he made that on was August 21st of 2025. Is when he made that this year. And then, I got the image bigger there on the right if anybody can find anything else in that. I've been looking at that newspaper clipping, hoping there might be something else, maybe not. But let's move on from that. So just keep in mind, August 21st of 2025, Grassley said he would.
Something's going on with your mic right now. It's kind of echoing in and out.
I don't know why.
Right, maybe good now. There you go.
Okay. Anyway, remember this. Keep this in mind. August 21st, Grassley told us he would show in 2 weeks with the corn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's move 2 weeks and 4 days to the date that he had made that post. Grassley come out on September 8th of 2025, which was exactly 2 weeks, 4 days, and says, he's talking about, first picture, ears are fully dented. Second photo, I broke into an ear, and you see two cobs, turning red. But he says about 3 weeks before harvest. So I've got that highlighted, 3 weeks before harvest. So he posted this on the 8th, which, keep that in mind now too. So he's got two images there. And in those images on the right there, again, we've been through the exposure phase. We may still be in the exposure phase, but is it time to start the accountability phase? And it's kind of interesting that Grassley has in this post this little picture of the two corn cobs, and he's got the middle word covered up, money, but you see it's and you see time. So is it time? Are we entering the accountability phase? Kind of interesting to me. I mean, it's something to track. So let's look at what we're going to track here with this. So Grassley said about 3 weeks. So about 3 weeks from 9/8/2025 would bring us to this coming Monday, the 29th of September.
Okay.
So let's watch for something, either some kind of more corn comps from Grassley, or let's see what happens if something comes out with this whole entire COMEY thing on Monday, or if something new develops on Monday, something big drops. I don't know. I mean, it's something to track, something to keep eyes on. That's kind of my take.
There's something crazy with that I've seen in a lot of the things that we're talking about. We're talking about Pete Hegseth reducing the generals, 4-star generals, by 20%. So the number you see a whole lot coming up in the things that we're talking about is 20%. And then look at what you got right here on this post. Corn should naturally dry to 20%. So that's this 20%, dude.
I didn't catch that. That is a good catch.
You've got the corn drying to 20% within 3 weeks, which puts you close to this date, right? And now you're seeing a 20% reduction in 4-star generals, and all of a sudden, this short meeting with Pete Hegseth.
What do we got on the 14? Is there anything on the 14 there, maybe?
I don't have anything on the 14. Just one thing I've noticed is I keep seeing that 20% pop up a whole lot, whether it be in my conservative feed, my logical news feed, or the Q feed. I'm seeing 20% everywhere.
Maybe we need to keep an eye out for some 14 comms or something. But, maybe Monday, the 29th, we'll see something tied around the number 14 or 14%.
Yeah.
Good possibility. It's something to keep an eye on. But like just this whole thing, like I've been tracking this, since episode 19 when we were talking about these corn comps from Grassley, and I just started connecting these together a little bit. And I'd seen somebody else had posted on the corn comp. I want to say cobs, corn comps on X today, and it kind of like got my mind sparked to kind of go down this route and do this kind of a dig on it. But I just wanted to put this out there. It's something noteworthy, something to possibly keep eyes on, in my opinion. Let's see. So this is something else I wanted to throw out there too. Along, with what's happening with COMEY is General Flynn came out today this morning, I think it's what it was, and had posted, Comey is the first domino to fall. Well, immediately, the first thing that popped in my head was Q3717 and Q3716. And both of those drops are identical. They're made at the exact same time, which that's freaking crazy. 17, which would be 5. So 5:03, 40 and 45 seconds on the first one, and 5:03 and 45 seconds on the second one. To make two posts at the same time just blows my mind. That's full control.
Well, yeah, that's pretty good right there. So you said the first arrest will verify action, confirm future direction. I will definitely go with that. So that's something that I see that the conservatives always needed, dude, was if you get the first one and you get a conviction or you get some sort of accountability, the dominoes will fall. And I agree with that.
That's kind of what I'm getting at. But the thing I was really highlighting in this was first indictment unsealed will trigger mass away. And then, Comey or Flynn saying Comey is the first domino. This is the first indictment.
Yeah.
That we're actually really seeing come out. And something I wanted to point out in this is at the end of this drop, Q says marker 9. Anyway, I'll read the full drop. So first indictment will unseal. First indictment unseal will trigger mass pop awakening. First arrest will verify action and confirm future direction. They will fight, but you are ready. Marker 9. Q. So I'd posted this.
9?
1 second here. I'd posted this on General Flynn's post today. I'd comment on General Flynn's post with these two Qs, and I had less talk, more action comment on my post, and he made a really good point here that kind of blew my mind. I never really thought about it, and he said, "I wonder if marker 9 means September."
Yeah. Oh, could be.
Yeah. I was
9 September. Chuck Grassley. You've got the 20% reduction with Pete Hegseth. You've got 14% more. Is that 2 weeks more? I don't know. Just to give you a little bit of a gap window of when this accountability is supposed to happen. I don't know, man. Another thing, it says it would trigger the mass pop awakening. So we are on the verge, I do believe, that on the mass pop awakening, we are on the verge of accountability. And in order for mass pop awakening or accountability to occur, I do believe that you got to get one. Mm-hmm. When you get one, then you set the standard within litigation or legal or anything that's going on. You can get the rest.
Well, it's also not
as far as my perspective from logical news. I understand the Q side too, and I think we're in agreement.
Yeah, yeah, we are. I believe we are. But it's not just Comey that's been indicted. Isn't Letitia James being indicted? Mm-hmm. And a couple others?
Letitia James for the mortgage fraud. Adam Schiff is coming. You're seeing a whole lot of accountability go down here, dude. And
Domino.
It's really building up. We are not even at the precipice. You are at the part where the snowball just starts getting bigger.
Yep. And like Adam Schiff right now, to everybody's, that's been following this stuff, Adam Schiff is a pretty big indictment, but it's really not the biggest indictment. Adam Schiff is like, I think Red Pill 78 over on his show said it best today. I think it was him who said it, that Adam Schiff is low hanging fruit, that they can get a stickable indictment with the evidence that has came out that's actually declassified, that they can get a conviction on that. I think Adam Schiff, I agree with Red Pill 78 that Adam Schiff is low hanging, or not Adam Schiff, but James Comey is low hanging fruit that they're going after right now. But it's going to start working its way up the tree to the bigger fruit and the riper fruit.
Well, you're talking about Comey, and we're looking at the connection with Chuck Grassley and Q and everything on that. But here's another one that I found weird that I think kind of ties into that. You got Troy A. Edwards. Who's Troy A. Edwards? Well, this is the son-in-law of former FBI Director James Comey. And he just resigned at the announcement of the indictment of Comey. Got any thoughts on that, Hex? Is that not weird, dude?
Yeah, because actually, let me share my screen one more time here, and I've got some Q on that. I believe
so. A little bit of info on that. Why he's looking that up is resigned from his position. Troy Edwards resigned from his position as federal prosecutor on Thursday, September 25th. This just happened, just hours after a grand jury indicted Comey. Here's some of the key details. Edwards, on the timing, resigned minutes after Comey was indicated on charges of lying to Congress and obstruction of a congressional proceeding. If this doesn't spell fishy, I don't know what does.
Yeah. With the cues, there's a lot of cues around the resignation stuff, but this one stood out to me. When you had brought that up is Q. Let's see, third one over from the left, Q 693, and Q says make sure the list of resignations remains updated. Important. So I don't really keep a big list of them, but there's a lot of anons that do, and by all means go look them up and see what the list is, because it's kind of interesting. If you go back, like I've looked at some of them, and it's kind of interesting, these resignations. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to toss that out there with that.
Absolutely. A little more information on the son-in-law resigning. I'm going to give you a little bit of context to go around this, guys. So we already went over the timing. What's the reason? In a one-sentence resignation letter, Edwards stated he was leaving to uphold my oath to the Constitution and the country. You can see it right there, to uphold my oath to the Constitution and country. I hereby resign as an assistant United States attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia. Position. Go ahead.
We also had another attorney resign in Virginia that was connected to the Comey case, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was the father of someone who was the godfather of one of Comey's grandchildren.
You had to get closer to your mic; it's cutting out.
Oh, sorry. We had another resignation there for a state attorney in Virginia that was connected to the Comey case, and it was a guy who was connected to Comey via being a godfather, or his son was a godfather to one of Comey's grandchildren.
Yeah. Yes.
So there's that too. And he resigned.
Absolutely. Well, here's a little bit more on that goes with this. So here's something that maybe people haven't seen yet. I just now actually recently discovered this. What is the coincidence of Comey's son-in-law resigning after only hours of the indictment against James Comey? Well, the coincidence with the indictment, did you know that Troy A. Edwards, son-in-law to Comey, his office was the same one that brought the indictment against Comey? So a little bit of context there, dude.
So his office brought the indictment against Comey?
Yeah, and then he resigned hours later.
Damn.
So, I don't know what that is there. We'll look into it a little bit further.
That's something else. We're going to have to see how it plays out.
Here's the family context. The resignation follows the July 2025 firing of Comey's daughter, Maureen Comey. I think that might have been what you were talking about, from her federal prosecutor role.
Yep.
She's trying to sue the government, alleging her dismissal was politically motivated. I doubt she has anything on that.
Yeah. That came out a couple of weeks ago, I think, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
Yep.
It did.
Yep. I remember hearing about that.
Absolutely. So there's one they're not reporting in the news, which I thought was, hey, you're doing this to my father-in-law. I work for you guys.
We have any badass clips for tonight?
Dude, I've got a lot of badass clips for tonight.
You want to?
Yeah, let me load them up real quick.
All right, load them up. We'll get into some badass clips, and then we'll close this mother down and call it an evening.
Definitely. Well, hold on. There's a couple of other little things before badass clips I want to move through really quickly.
Okay.
Here was one that we didn't get to bring up. It was President Trump names George Soros and Reid Hoffman as people who funded Antifa and violent protests. That's something that we needed to go over earlier. Here's a quick little 30-second clip for that.
Well, Soros is a name certainly that I keep hearing. I don't know, but Soros is a name that I hear. I hear a lot of different names. I hear names of some pretty rich people that are radical left people. Maybe I hear about a guy named Reid Hoffman. Somebody's a pretty rich guy, I guess, and I hear about him. I don't know. Maybe could be him. Could be a lot of people. We hear the same names, but they're bad, and we're going to find out. And if they are funding these things, they're going to have some problems because they're agitators and they're anarchists. These are anarchists. Really bad.
So there you go, dude. That was huge as far as Trump dropping the name of George Soros. Everything going down with that. there was also Trump signing an order on domestic terrorism and political violence, basically giving his DOJ and everybody the full authority to go after political left-wing activists and Antifa organizations. And then you've got the designation of Antifa. So we're talking about something's building up to a huge event, and this accountability happen. Check this one.
Lastly, sir, this is a presidential memorandum on countering domestic terrorism and organized political violence. In recent weeks, months, and years, we've seen a tremendous upsurge in some highly visible, but also other acts of domestic terrorism and organized political violence being perpetrated by radical, politically motivated groups all over the country. What this presidential memorandum will do is set off an administration-wide response to that, ranging from the Joint Terrorism Task Forces to other components of the Department of Justice, to the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Treasury. We're looking at interdicting these groups, preventing them from performing acts of violence, and also looking at sources of organization and funding and support that prop them up and allow them to do the acts that they have been doing.
We're looking at the funders of a lot of these groups, and you know, when you see the signs, and they're all beautiful signs made professionally, these aren't your protesters that make the sign in their basement late in the evening because they really believe it. These are anarchists and agitators, professional anarchists and agitators, and they get hired by wealthy people, some of whom I know, I guess, you know, probably know them. And you wouldn't know it. You're at dinner with them, everything's nice, and then you find out that they funded millions of dollars to these lunatics.
So you got President Trump. He's talking about the funding, these anarchists, these people that, you know, you wouldn't even know it. You have dinner with them, and then they're actually turning out and they're funding these political left-wing activists. You know, that was something huge that I thought was news that broke down for this week. And then he drops the name of George Soros and Reid Hoffman. So I imagine the internet's going livid right now, trying to find out anything they can about Reid Hoffman and any extra information about George Soros, which we already know so much.
Yeah, it's interesting how Eye the Tiger was in the background of that one also.
Absolutely. It's, you know why? Because those are actually from Donaldo Trumpo on X. Okay, so if you want to follow him, check him out. Donaldo Trumpo on X has some good videos. Puts a little.
He's also on Facebook too.
Absolutely,
if I'm not mistaken. Yep.
Facebook. Have you seen the with the Tylenol thing going on? Did you see the Democratic response, X, of what's going on with these females that are pregnant?
We're gonna get some badass clips here.
Not yet. I've got one.
Not yet?
Then we'll get into it. Yep, not yet.
Okay. Well, I thought those are pretty badass watching these.
They are. I'm just going to show you this real quick. This was the Democratic response from females that are actually pregnant, and this is actually going on in today's society. Check it out. Maybe you guys didn't see it. It's a huge trend that's going on. You get all of these pregnant females, most likely far left liberal ideologies, mental epidemic, absolutely taking Tylenol in protest to President Trump since his Tylenol autism announcement, you know. So I find that baffling. I don't understand how, if you got any kind of a piece of information as a decent mother or a human being that's there, and your job, your sole purpose in life is to protect, you know, a child in the womb for 9.5 months, given that you have even mixed results, okay, minimum mixed results, that you would not protect that child. You know, it's absolutely mind-boggling to me. There was something that I said on Same Cues, Different Views. So I seen this video and it came out, dude. And my immediate response was, well, thank you, ladies, for creating the controlled scientific experiment for ladies who are taking Tylenol, and we can see what happens with autism. We'll be back to check your checkup for 9.5 months. You know what I mean? So we're going to come back in 9.5 months, see what's going on with you. God bless those children. Lord have mercy. We don't want any negativity on them, but it's absolutely insane, dude.
Trump could literally say, don't drink piss. Piss is bad. And the liberals would drink piss.
They absolutely would. Don't
anything to defy him.
Drink it. Yeah.
It just blows my mind. Did you have any more clips of those ladies taking Tylenol in protest to Trump? Did I lose you, Parabellum? Hello, hello, hello. I think we may have lost Parabellum, so I don't know if we're going to get any badass clips. Let's give him a few minutes to come back. And let's see. 3, 2, 1. Nope, Parabellum's not coming back. So I myself don't have any badass clips. Parabellum has them all. Hopefully he pops back in here. If not, we're going to close this show down. But I hope you guys have enjoyed yourself tonight. Same Q's, different views, episode 23. We went over a lot of stuff. Had a lot more Q stuff on the show tonight than what we normally have. I am in no way a Q expert. I follow the people that I follow, and I get a lot of takes from them. And I've learned a lot of stuff about Q from different people, various sources that I follow. X22 Report, Absolute Storm, Red Pill 78. You can go look up all these people. A show I used to watch, The Bunker. I've not seen it in a while. That was a really good one, and I think Parabellum has just came back. That was a show to watch too. But I am in no means. I'm by no means an expert on Q. I call balls and strikes. I call stuff as I see them. When it comes to Q, and a lot of times I get the same exact kind of take on a lot of stuff that most anons do, and then sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm wrong. And again, with this show, this is everything on this show it's our opinion of how we see things. Are you with me, Parabellum?
Yeah, I'm with you, buddy. I'm back.
Okay.
Sorry, I had to over temperature. My computer shut down on me, but I came back.
Like, even when you come back, you were sitting there and did not move, and I thought he still froze up. So I need to keep
No. I'm just reloading them videos real quick.
Like, you could totally be a mannequin.
Oh, I can do it, dude. Yeah, definitely. But
badass clips.
Let me load them up real quick.
All right,
I want to show
go ahead.
Let me see if I've got.
You got me trigger happy. I want to play. I want to show
you're
my
ready to
badass
hit them badass clips, dude.
I'm like, bam.
Here's one. Ilhan. Okay, so I don't know if you guys heard.
Oh
this.
yeah,
Ilhan
this was good.
Omar. If you haven't seen this is a great little video, and you can check it up. Unfortunately, I lost my Grok AI on this to double check this, but Ilhan Omar is apparently some of her history. She's part of a family that was ejected from Somalia for Marxism. Did you guys know this? Check it out.
Let's take Ilhan Omar as an example, okay? She comes from a family, and they call her a refugee who came from Somalia, right? They call her a refugee. Her family were the governing party, the Marxist Islamist government in Somalia, who were overthrown and then fled. Now, technically that makes her a refugee, but she wasn't fleeing oppression, or rather her family weren't fleeing oppression, they were fleeing justice. They were fleeing their own people, holding them to account for the dictatorship that they had established. So you have people like the Omar family, and what do? Do they come to America and see America and go, okay, this is pretty cool. They're not oppressing each other. Let's be part of this. No, they go, hey, how can we oppress them? How can we bring Marxism to America? That's the thought process. And it may be a passive thought process, but it's the thought process.
So what do you think about that, dude? That's some seriously intense stuff. So you can go to Google right now and you can check Google AI or everything. They're going to absolutely debunk any information. Oh, well, that's not true and this, that, and another. But, however, if you go to Grok AI, you're going to get a little bit of a different story that validates this. So let me share screen real quick. Hold on one second.
Grok pulls from a lot of sources on
It absolutely does. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can pull this up for you guys and we'll load it up. Oh, let me go over here. Sorry. Shit.
You're magasizing it.
Yeah, I am. Hold on 1 second. I've got my
But yeah, I like Grok.
Go.
Grok pulls from a lot of sources.
It absolutely does, dude. Let me see if I can pull back here. See if I can find it. Hold on. Oh my goodness.
You also, if I'm not mistaken, we were watching it last night, the clip of Trump and Omar and what he had to say about her.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, President Trump.
Are we saving that for badass clips?
I do. I have that saved for badass clips, so that's why I'm trying to get a little bit into Ilhan Omar. What's going on right now. So if you've seen that video, I've got. Sorry about the delay, but If you've seen that video and what was going on, so like I said, you'll check Google AI, you'll check, any of these left-wing Microsoft bullshit, and you're going to find some information that totally debunks this. And that's all they ever do, because they still got a little bit of power, and this is how they disseminate the information. Smith-Month Act, by the way, guys. Smith-Month Act, that's how it happens.
Oh, I got some Jeopardy music here. Parabellum we've lost him again. So while we're waiting, we'll listen to a little bit of Jeopardy music here until Parabellum comes back. But he'll be back. I have faith in him. He's my go-to guy. So we got a really funny clip coming up with Trump and Omar that they talk about. I think you guys are going to like it. And I think Parabellum's got some really good badass clips lined up that are hilarious. I've not seen all of them. I've seen a couple of them, but you guys are going to like them too. And again, I hope you guys have enjoyed Same Cues, Different Views tonight. And remember, right down there at the bottom of the screen, whatever platform you're watching on, there's a thumbs up. Go down there and smash that thumbs up. Give us a like. We've got live chat. Every time we live stream, we've got live chat. We'd love to see some people jump in chat and give some feedback live as we're doing the show. It help us out a lot. If there's content you want to see on the show, or something, content you want talked about or something, maybe we can possibly pull that up on an episode and talk about it. Rumble has Rumble rants. So if you want to support this show, one of the good ways to support this show, make a Rumble account and get on Rumble, and you can do a Rumble rant over there on Rumble. And Jeopardy music is over and Parabellum is back. But get on Rumble if you want to support this show. You can do Rumble rants, and you can donate a little money to the show, and it'll help us out with the cost of every episode that we do, and how much it costs to do an episode, and all the different software that Parabellum and myself use to put on this show. So we would love to have some support. We're not asking for it, but it'd be, we would appreciate it, I guess is what I'm saying. So if you want to do that, want to go that far and support the show, Rumble rants are the way we've got right now that you can do it. Maybe, who knows, some other possibilities will come up if you like us enough that you want to support the show. We are also looking for possible advertisers on the show. If anybody's wanting to advertise, we're willing to put together a commercial for you and or whatever business you have, and we'll have your commercial played on the show at some point, either the beginning or middle or end of the show. Probably more toward the beginning of the show, but anyway, I'm just
sorry
rambling
about that, man. So I don't know. I keep experiencing, my computer keeps shutting down.
But go down, smash that thumbs up button, guys.
Yeah, definitely. We got the QR code in the top left corner of the screen. Just pull up your camera, or maybe you can click on it and link it. That'll bring you to our Facebook page, or actually that'll bring you to our X page. Click on that and you can get into the news feed and the stuff that we are putting out on the daily. If it's not X that you want to do, we also have this Facebook group page. Go ahead and take a moment and pull your camera up and check that out. Join our group, guys. We'd really appreciate it to definitely bring you any kind of information that is correct and what it is that you're looking for. I did get lucky enough to load up some badass clips. Unfortunately, I couldn't go with my point on what was going on with the Somalia government and the ejection for Ilhan Omar. But if you check it out on Grok, it will tell you that she was absolutely tied to the family that was ejected from a Somalia government that was known for ties that are to Marxism.
Can I push the button now?
Yeah, push the button.
Bam! Finally, badass clips. Let's get into them. I can't wait.
All right, so here we go, man. So here's a little bit of the things that was going on since we were on Ilhan Omar. I'll start right there. Here's one. It's AI generated. Hopefully you guys seen it in your feed. It's absolutely hilarious. This is badass of Omar and Caitlin on CNN. Check it out.
People are saying you married your brother for citizenship purposes, but are you in love with your brother, Congresswoman? I mean, do you guys sleep with each other? Is this normal in Somalia? Does he get butt naked and yell, "I'm decapted now, sister"? Or what's the deal over there? You guys doing a stepbrother fetish, Congresswoman? And when you guys get naked and have sex, do you leave your headscarf on or do you take it off?
Oh my god!
Oh my god! So we're jumping straight into these badass clips, dude.
I couldn't wait for this.
I didn't get to. I purposely made sure not to share that with you to get a legitimate reaction.
Oh, that killed me.
God, whoever made that, God bless you. Whoever made that, we love you. Actually, I take that back. That was over, and that was presented on Donaldo Trumpo's page. Got some great AI videos. Check it out, guys. Here's another one, not as hilarious as this one, but it's going to go with Ilhan Omar as well. And this is her speaking at a congressional meeting. And this is pretty much all I heard. I don't know about you guys.
But it's shocking to me that all of this is being championed, and it's coming from a party that believes in small government, a party that talks about freedom, liberty. And this is the party
Oh, it gets better.
that
Oh, the cat.
everything that they can to tell women
Cat turd.
cat
turd.
They want somebody like Senator Cruz regulating your uterus. They want Senator Grassley having authority over your body. We have to say no.
Hello, Trump.
If you care about women's rights,
So yeah, there you go. I don't know if that's what you guys hear. Maybe whenever you call somebody up and you're trying to get help with your phone service, or maybe it's Ilhan Omar in the congressional meeting. I don't know. Is that racist? I hope not. But oh well, that is what
that
it
was
is.
that was the cat turd cat, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's cat turd, man.
Yeah, if anybody don't
absolutely.
follow Cat Turd, go to X and like give Cat Turd a follow too. He's a redneck like us. He's like really. I love watching Cat Turd and Jules. I think is what it is. In the litter box on Rumble is the show, and go check it out. It's pretty good too. Like
great,
there's a lot of people that's back and forth with Cat Turd, but I like Cat Turd.
Continuing the Ilhan Omar, I do have one more, and this is just President Trump, and he's speaking after signing executive orders, and he's speaking about Ilhan Omar. Check out this badass trolling.
There we go.
President Trump.
Jasmine Crockett. Remember what I said? Is she a relation to the late, great Davy Crockett? I don't think so. Jasmine Crockett, let me tell you, before you even ask, she's a very low IQ person. I mean, if we ever had to pass an aptitude test, that's the one should take one, because she shouldn't even be in the class. So I have no idea what you're going to, but I don't think we should waste our time. This is a low IQ person who I can't even believe is a congressperson. Between her and Ilhan Omar and the group. You know, I met the head of Somalia. Did you know that? And I suggested that maybe he'd like to take her back, and he didn't want her. He said, I don't want her. Okay, what else?
We don't want her. You keep her.
Somalia was like, yeet that bitch.
Yeah, absolutely. Get rid of that. I thought that was a hilarious, badass moment from President Trump, our troller in chief. He was speaking about Jasmine Crockett. So another video that had come up was one for Jasmine Crockett. This is her talking about criminals aren't actually criminals. Maybe you saw it. Check it out.
And so I do want people to know that just because someone has committed a crime, it doesn't make them a criminal.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
So true, man. People that are criminals are not actually criminals. Where is the logic in that? Live long and prosper. There is no Vulcan aptitude there, man. You got one?
No, I was actually oh, never mind. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I could pull that video up whenever we needed it. I thought it got lost in there.
Okay, well, I got another one if
All
you're
right, go
ready.
ahead. Yeah, I'm ready.
So this one came out, dude, and you know I don't really follow Pokemon or anything like that or whatever, but somebody done a parody of Pokemon and illegal immigrants with ICE. Anyway, it had over 74 million views, and I figured, hey, why not? It's popular enough. If you haven't seen it, check it out. You got to catch them all.
my cause. I will travel across the land, searching far and wide. Each Pokemon to understand the power that's inside. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. It's you and me.
Gotta catch 'em all.
Pokemon, oh, you're my best friend in a world we must defend. Pokemon,
Oh my
gotta
God.
catch 'em. Our hearts so true, our courage will pull us through. You teach me and I'll teach you. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. Gotta catch 'em all. Pokemon.
Oh, the cards.
Ending, dude. The child endangerment, rape, everything which is true about the illegal immigrants that are doing.
Can we
this.
get a virtual app for that? Like, like how they do the Pokemon app?
Yes.
Everybody
think
on
we can,
bicycles
man.
hunting them down.
Oh my God. So I seen that and I was like, that's definitely got to go on the show, dude. 74 million views. Somebody put it out there for the Pokemon.
That's great.
Those cards at the end blew my mind, dude. I don't know about you.
Yep.
I only have one other video.
All right,
we'll go
let's
ahead
do
and
it.
play
We'll close
but
the show out.
This is a little bit of, maybe you've heard with the Charlie Kirk and everything that's going on with that. And then you heard maybe about Milo Yiannopoulos. Maybe you've heard that name, maybe not. Milo Yiannopoulos comes out and says you got rid of you killed the nice guy, and now you're stuck with the bad guy.
Before you jump into that too, there was something else that come out about Charlie Kirk today.
Okay.
So actually, two things. Let me go to my Facebook here real quick because I want to. Let's see. Notifications, and my cousin who had watched the show last week, and Collins had tagged me into something that I didn't know about, but apparently there's this movie that came out a couple year or so ago.
Snake Eyes, you're talking
Snake
about?
Eyes, yeah. And it's
Yeah,
all
Debbie was telling me about that.
like there was a lot of that ties right into Charlie Kirk.
The eerie similarity of
The eerie similarities of it. And we see that a lot with a lot of movies that's came out with that. And I don't mean to get back into serious, topic, but you'd mentioned Charlie Kirk. So there was that I thought was interesting. And hats off to you, Angie, for tagging me in that, because I thought that was interesting. And I wanted to clip that for tonight, that little TikTok, but I just didn't have time to do it. Maybe we'll get on the next show. Yeah. But the other thing too, that about Charlie Kirk that had came out was MJ, I think it was MJ Truth Ultra had actually posted this, and I don't know if you've seen it, Parabellum, or not, but he had posted a video clip of a guy talking about a second shooter that was in the background that actually was the one who had the shot on Charlie Kirk, and he's got a.
Are you talking about the side shooter with the
the side shooter,
ACP round?
Yep, that went through the back of Charlie Kirk's neck and come out the front with the shot.
Right.
Yep. So, there was that, and that also ties right back into that movie.
Yeah.
That there was that the shooter in the movie, apparently the shooter wasn't the actual shooter, that there was another shooter that actually pulled it off, and the shooter that was caught was like a decoy or something like that. So,
right.
I don't know, like I'm just throwing this out there. You guys make of it what you want, but I thought that was kind of interesting. But anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt your last badass clip, but
no, it's okay. Actually, I found out I got two more. So
okay, I got time for
okay. You're talking about the Charlie Kirk thing, though. I do have a little bit of a perspective on that, and I get it. I get a lot of the Israel theory, and I get a lot of the other shooter theories, and I get everything that's going out here. And the one thing that I keep coming back to, for me personally, from the logical view, is that this man's not even buried yet, and people are coming out of the woodwork with all of their personal opinions. To me personally, I feel like patience should be exuberated to be able to come out with those opinions if you have them.
I imagine, I don't know how it was when Kennedy was assassinated. I wasn't even born yet, but like from what I gather, there was a lot of the same stuff around Kennedy assassination with people coming out with their opinions, and
it was, most definitely, it's amplified in this where we live today in a digital age.
Well, what I'm getting at is I think this is probably something that, no matter what time period you live in, and, something like this happens, you're going to have this same thing happen with people.
Yeah, you're going to ask those questions regardless. I think it's amplified though in this digital age in which we live in.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And it can happen
amplified.
so much faster. You know, that's why it took so long for JFK. But imagine what's going to happen with all of the theories that come out now. For me, here's the one thing that I keep thinking of. I'm prior service military, and for me, my personal opinion is I have to put trust in my leaders. I have to put trust in my government as a conservative. And the reason that I would put trust in what's been given to me today, again, this is my personal opinion. I'm not dismissing anything that it should be questioned. Sure, do your questions. That's great. Yep. But for me personally is that for the first time in 20 to 30 years, you have an FBI director in which I feel that you can trust.
Yeah.
You have Kash Patel, who is the most transparent FBI director in the world. You have President Trump, who is the most transparent president, and the DOJ, who's the most transparent DOJ.
I think your house fell down in the background.
No, that was Bev. She dropped a bottle of Jaeger. But, I have feelings about this. I go wishy-washy both sides, because I do want questions to certain things. But I also say, you know what? Is it time to maybe put a little faith in Kash Patel? Is it time to put faith in what he reported? He said, here's the entire text of everything that happened leading up to a week prior.
Trump trusts him, so I trust him.
You know what I mean?
And the other thing too is like you got to look at another aspect of this is that you have to keep in mind is like we're living in a technology age, and AI is a big thing right now. So a lot of this stuff that you see, like, and we were going to have this discussion on the show based on a clip that you had sent me tonight, but we didn't get a chance to get to it. But a lot of this stuff you see, you can't really believe, because you've got AI that's like incredible with videos.
Absolutely.
So
it's so much more questionable that you have to investigate it once the question is put into ponderance. You know what I mean? Once somebody raises the question, then now you have to investigate it. You're in a digital age. So what I personally like to do from my logical standpoint of view, it doesn't mean I dismiss anything that I don't feel is illogical. I don't dismiss it at all, but I do feel for conservatives that I think for 20 years, we've got used to questioning everything, because that's rightfully so. We needed to question everything, but I do feel like, hey, is this a time where we need to start saying, maybe I got an FBI leader that is telling me the truth. Maybe I got DOJ Pam Bondi that's telling me the truth. Maybe I got Caroline Leavitt that's telling me a little bit of the truth. Maybe I got President Trump, who has continued to prove to me that he's telling me the truth.
It's hard to discern information right now as it comes out.
Right. I think maybe a little bit back burner on the conspiracy theories would help out on certain topics. You got to be a little careful, especially with the murder and the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Not dismissing it at all. I just maybe ponder upon that.
But anyway, let's get into this last badass clip and we'll jump out of here.
So we were talking about Jasmine Crockett. President Trump brought up Jasmine Crockett. Did I play that one? No, I've already played that one. Jasmine
you played that one.
Okay, so we're getting into Milo. Maybe a lot of conservatives out there, you've heard about Milo, and maybe you haven't. Maybe you got time to look into him. Maybe you didn't. But check out this conservative, gay, conservative, and here's him actually defending a liberal, calling him a racist.
You come here and you have sort of under your breath, almost not as loudly as you said anything else, but under your breath you sort of said, "Oh, white supremacists, blah blah blah." You kind of wanted to get it under the radar. You wanted to say it without me having an opportunity to dispute it. Fuck you! How fucking dare you call me a white supremacist? You're not leaving as well, are you? You know, come on. They always leave. They always leave. Defend your allegation that I'm a white supremacist. Defend your allegation that I'm a white supremacist. Defend your allegation that I am a white supremacist. You call me a white supremacist. Defend it. Defending... Am I?
Conservatives, be warned.
Baby.
A lot of things are going to be said here that you may not agree with.
So, the amount of black dick that's been in my mouth. It's really, I must be the most self-loathing white supremacist in the world. I asked you, and I'm going to ask you, I'm going to give you one more opportunity to defend your allegation that I'm a white supremacist. Just try, do it. What am I enabling? Because what I've talked about this evening isn't race or skin color, I've talked about values. And when the BBC did what you're attempting to do now, as 1.3 million people have seen on my YouTube channel, what they did was try to conflate an admiration for American values, for the First and Second Amendment, for freedom, democracy, property rights, capitalism. They tried to conflate that with race. They tried to say, if you're proud of your country, or you admire the values of another country, that somehow makes you a racist. It doesn't. So I ask you one final time, please justify your allegation that I'm a white supremacist. Hateful rhetoric, you're not answering the question. White supremacists hate me. The Daily Stormer is the epicenter of white supremacists on the internet. They declared a holy war on me. They said they would never read Breitbart again until Breitbart fired me. They said I was their their number one enemy. White supremacists and anti-Semites hate me. I prefer the expression race mixing kike faggot, but whatever.
Damn. So there you go. So if anybody been hearing about Milo, that's what you may be getting with Milo coming out of retirement. Is that a badass moment? I think it is, because conservatives nor liberals know what to do with this person. You're about to get some serious stuff coming down, dude. So that one's a little bit different.
I have no words. I was like, wow.
Yeah, so that's totally new in the conservative party. But here's the thing, conservatives, we don't care if you're gay or you're lesbian or you're transgender or you're queer. We don't give a shit, and to find somebody as rare as Milo to be all of those things and still have the opinion of a conservative viewpoint. How you going to fight that?
There's a lot of them out there, and I know I know a couple personally who are conservative, but are gay or lesbian.
Oh yeah, so absolutely.
There's a lot of actually, I think, if I'm not mistaken, isn't there a Gays for Trump organization that support Trump and support
Milo, who absolutely abolishes every single ideology that the left pushes against the right. This single individual abolishes everything, so something to think about. I don't know. We'll see what it comes into.
Is that it?
I've only got one more other video.
Okay.
And it was just something personal for me. It's not really a badass clip, but I'm going to have a badass joke for you. This is a Muslim that was praying inside of a restaurant. And the owner came up and politely asked him to leave. He was disrupting and this, that, and other. And one of the responses was, I don't have to leave. It is my right in America to basically invade your business and conduct my religious freedom. I don't know. It's a huge hot topic. Here we go. That's basically the restaurant owner coming up and saying, could you please leave my establishment? I'd appreciate you not do that here. I'm in the middle of conducting business. As far as this goes, from a military perspective, something I can tell you guys is this is an easy one. One of the questions that was asked on this post is, how am I supposed to deal with this as a business owner? And for me personally, it's pretty easy. So if you look at the impurity of prayer for Muslims as a prior service Army combat veteran who deployed to Operation Iraqi Freedom in a full combat tour, what I can tell you is that they are, absolutely, you're on it, dude. They are absolutely not allowed to pray as an impurity of where there may be fecal matter or urine or, feces or Maybe perhaps something that you could say is that this is najas. It is a total impurity because we serve pork at this establishment. and by Sharia law, you're not allowed to pray in a place that is serving pork. So, anything that I'd have to say to that, there's only one more thing I'd have to say to that. And if that helps you guys out in the restaurant business alone, maybe let them know najas. No. Impurity. We serve pork on the menu. But I would say this. Hold on a second.
It looks like meats.
Back on the menu,
Menu, boys.
All right.
That is the end of my badass segment.
And that is the end of our episode 23 for tonight. Any closing words, Parabellum, real quick? Some quick closing words to give everybody?
Well, for me, man, like I said, we've been talking about it for the last few episodes, is that where is the accountability? Where is the accountability? And you find the conservative side getting restless. You even seen President Trump, who came out and told Pam Bondi and said, hey, we need accountability. We need something to happen. This is going on too long. But what you see a whole lot of things. According to this episode, you got President Trump holding the entire NATO accountable for all of the wrong things that they're doing. Okay, funding Russian oil, the Green New scam. You got Comey, who's getting indicted. You got Kash Patel doing everything he's doing as the FBI director. He's finding missing children from the Biden administration immigration from open borders. You've got child sex trafficking with ties to George Soros. You've got all of this going down. You've got a lot of litigation that's up. You've got a lot of stuff that is happening right now, so much so it's even hard to keep up with. But what I would say is that you are in the middle of the storm, and accountability is happening. Exuberate, patience, yet one more. Okay, and it's going to work out for us.
I agree with you there. It's hard to disagree with that because, like I said, we went through my closing words. We went through the a lot of the exposure phase, and I've hit on this a lot tonight and the past couple episodes. But I think we're coming up on the end of the exposure phase, and we're getting ready to get into the accountability phase, especially what we've seen with Comey and the resignations we've seen around Comey, and we're coming up on like the stuff we've seen with Soros. I think Soros is going to open up and get bigger, and there's going to be more accountability. Like General Flynn said, Comey's the first domino to fall, and like Q says in his drop, first indictment will trigger mass pop awakening. I think that's what we're coming into. So hang with it, guys. Hang in there. Accountability is coming. I have the utmost faith in accountability coming. And
absolutely. And you see Gavin Newsom right there, George Soros funded. Here's all the money to the candidates. If you guys didn't see it yet, there you go. Gavin Newsom, yet another one funded by George Soros.
Yep. But again, guys, hang in there. Accountability is coming. We're starting to see the first parts of that trickle down right now, and it's going to get bigger. And like I said, Comey's the first domino. Comey's the lowest fruit hanging on the tree right now that we can go after and, start this whole entire snowball rolling. And if I'm not mistaken, Q tells us that the initial wave is going to be slow, but it's going to get bigger and bigger. And just keep an eye out for Drop 55 to pop up eventually on X, whether it be from Trump, Dan Scavino Jr., or General Flynn or somebody like that. Keep an eye out for that drop to pop up at says, "My fellow Americans, the storm is upon us." And God bless, guys. Where we go one, we go all. Peace out. We will see you next Friday night at 8:00, and there will be no Anunnaki special tomorrow night. I may touch on a little bit of that. Actually, just go to our Facebook page, and you'll see all that with the Anunnaki, and it was canceled. But anyway, peace out, guys. God bless. Where we go one, we go all. See you next Friday night at 8:00. Same place.
Next year, the United States will celebrate the 250th anniversary of our glorious independence, a testament to enduring power and American freedom and spirit. We will also be proudly hosting the 2026 FIFA World Cup, and shortly thereafter, the 2028 Olympics, which is going to be very exciting. I hope you all come. I hope that countless people from all over the globe will take part of these will be great celebrations of liberty and human achievement, and that together we all can rejoice in the miracles of history that began in July 4th, 1776, when we founded the light to all nations. And it's something really that an amazing thing came out of that date. It's called the United States of America. In honor of this momentous anniversary, I hope that all countries who find inspiration in our example will join us in renewing our commitment and values, and those values really that we hold so dear. Together, let us defend free speech and free expression. Let us protect religious liberty, including for the most persecuted religion on the planet today. It's called Christianity. And let us safeguard our sovereignty and cherish qualities that have made each of our nations so special, incredible, and extraordinary. In closing, I just want to repeat that immigration and the high cost of so-called green renewable energy is destroying a large part of the free world and a large part of our planet. Countries that cherish freedom are fading fast because of their policies on these two subjects. You need strong borders and traditional energy sources if you are going to be great again. Whether you have come from north or south, east or west, near or far, every leader in this beautiful hall today represents a rich culture, a noble history, and a proud heritage that makes each nation majestic and unique, unlike anything else in human history or any other place on the face of the earth. From London to Lima, from Rome to Athens, from Paris to Seoul, from Cairo to Tokyo and Amsterdam to right here in New York City, we stand on the shoulders of the leaders and legends, generals and giants, heroes and titans who won and built our beloved nations, all of our nations, with their own courage, strength, spirit, and skill. Our ancestors climbed the mountains, conquered oceans, crossed deserts, and trekked over wide open plains. They charged into thunderous battles, plunged into grave dangers, and they were soldiers and farmers and workers and warriors and explorers and patriots. They built towns into cities, tribes into kingdoms, ideas into industries, and small islands into mighty empires. You're a part of all of that. They were champions for their people who never gave up and who never, ever gave in. Their values defined our national identities. Their visions forged our magnificent destiny. Everybody in this room is a part of it in your own way. Each of us inherits the deeds and the myths, the triumphs, the legacies of our own heroes and founders who so bravely showed us the way. Our ancestors gave everything for homelands that they defended with pride, with sweat, with blood, with life, and with death. Now the righteous task of protecting the nations that they built belongs to each and every one of us. So together let us uphold our sacred duty to our people and to our citizens. Let us protect their borders, ensure their safety, preserve their cultures, treasure, and traditions, and fight for their precious dreams and their cherished freedoms. And in friendship and really a beautiful vision, let us all work together to build a bright, beautiful planet, a planet that we all share, a planet of peace and a world that is richer, better, and more beautiful than ever before. That can happen. It will happen. It will happen, and I hope it can happen and start right now, right at this moment. We'll turn it around. We're going to make our countries better, safer, more beautiful. We're going to take care of our people. Thank you, the nations of the world. Thank you very much. Bye.